That's loud, boy.
New York sports happening.
That's loud.
Talk about it here. The Fan, 1019 FM, and always live on the Free York. It's Keith McPherson on the Fan, 1019 FM, and always live on the Free York app.
I don't need my music that loud. Is that Keith McPherson's music? Yeah, I'm back like I never left. KM to 2 a.m. Let's talk about all the sports. 888-808-1019. I was off last night, so whenever I'm off for a day, my notes get too long. This is going to be a quick 3-hour show here. We'll try to make it concise. We'll talk about Aaron Rodgers is the song that doesn't end. I'll give some love to Mikal Bridges, and we'll talk about the Knicks. And I mean, the Nets just blew another lead as they have another entertaining tank. The Devils win again. Embrace cookie chaos. Mrs. Fields, take the wheel. And the Rangers win in OT. You just heard that on the update, right? Braden Schneider with the backhand OT winner. So we got some puck to talk, some hoop to talk. St. John's handled business. The Big East tourney is underway. But, man, I find myself today looking at the calendar and, again, getting another alert earlier today. 2 weeks until opening day. I don't go to spring training until Monday, and I'm already like, no mas. You know, it's funny how, like, when we get into the NFL preseason, everybody's all hyped for, training camp and then preseason, and then you get to the third preseason game, and it's like, do we need these preseason? Who cares? I think they got to shorten spring training. I think they got to start it later. They're eventually going to shorten the regular season, and I think we see that in the next 5 years before Manfred is out. I think they shorten the regular season, they realign, and maybe they make spring training shorter because we can't stand anymore. We can't take anymore. When I say no mas, no more injuries on both sides. And, I go back to always like, don't believe the hype. The hype is a drug that'll get you killed. And as much hype as we have around the Mets and the Yankees, another injury is just going to get the hype to die down. And maybe that's what we need. 888-808-1019. So the news that came out today is that Jeff McNeil, the flying squirrel, happy Jeff is now sad Jeff. He's got a minor oblique strain. But a minor oblique strain will put you out for 2 weeks where you're not ready to go on opening day. Okay, let the kids play. Hey, Siri, play. Oh, my God. I mean, I guess there's some fans that want to see Luis Angel Acuna. There's some fans that may want to see Brett Beatty. I know there's some fans that are thinking, hey, should have Jose Iglesias here, and then we wouldn't have this problem. And there's also another bucket of fans that might be in that, 2 buckets where they're like, Jeff McNeil, I'm over Jeff McNeil. I don't want Jeff McNeil on his team anyway. Why is he still here? So it's not a huge blow, but as we've talked about, the last time I was on, I was talking about who the backup shortstop is. And Carlos Mendoza suggested it be Jeff McNeil for an inning or two. Well, you just lost your backup shortstop. And now you're going to have one of these young guys playing. And then they'll be playing. And then the Mets and the Yankees are another injury away from like, okay, maybe a little panic. And, I'll switch gears a little bit to the Yankee side because there is a lot of panic in Yankee land. But, as I'm getting the alerts today and not able to watch the game where Jason Dominguez homers and Paul Goldschmidt homers, I'm like, see? Paul Goldschmidt is on this team. Jason Dominguez is on this. Like, just as soon as we think, all right, Garrett Cole goes down, this season just took a massive hit. I come back to the fact that these are the New York Yankees. What does that mean? They're the New York Yankees. They have a lot of pride. They have a lot of good players. And the cream will rise to the top. The talent will rise. The best players on the team aren't going to take this laying down. Other guys will emerge. And it's not that long that you have to survive until Luis Heel comes back potentially in June or July. Who knows? But then we did get word today that Giancarlo Stanton, not only is he dealing with the elbow injury, he has a calf strain. He's got a calf injury too. How? What was he doing? How do you strain it from getting off the flight from New York? And I'm trying not to, like I said, Giancarlo is above criticism after what he did for me. Like he's got immunity granted, where what's it worth to talk about the guy being hurt when we know injuries are a part of his game? But yeah, when I saw that today, he's got a calf injury. But whatever, they put that to the side. The best part of what we saw with him was that, chronic calf issue is what it is. He's not going to be running. They're optimistic that Stanton can return by Memorial Day. What? That's when they shorten the season. When they realign and shorten the season, that's when the season's going to start. The baseball season's going to start Memorial Day. 888-808-1019. If Giancarlo Stanton can return by Memorial Day, that is great. I'll take it. Hell, even if it's not Memorial Day, if it's June 1st, good, because I have just kind of unsubscribed from all of his alerts and chalked it up to, he's not playing this year. But another guy that's going to be back sooner than some might have thought, or we got an alert on, was Sean Manaea. Sean Manaea began throwing 2 days ago. He's symptom-free, so they expect his timeline to be somewhere around late April for a return. That's a huge bump. You obviously need that guy, especially as you're looking at Paul Blackburn or Tyler McGill or Griffin Canning. Like, you might not need that many starts from one of those guys before Manaea is like, I'm good. I'm ready to go. 888-808-1019. So it's just like, let's just get through spring training. Let's just get through these last 2 weeks without another alert. The Mets lose Jeff McNeil, Francisco Alvarez this week. Obviously, we're already down Sean Manaea, Frankie Montas. And the Yankees lose Garrett Cole, which we did get some good news on Garrett Cole too. Let me not skip over that. The news around Garrett Cole is that, with his procedure, they're expecting him to be back sooner than we are projecting as well. I think most Yankee fans know it's all of this year, but we were thinking like the back half of 2026. Brian Hoke put out there that Garrett Cole's UCL surgery, it included internal bracing, according to the Yankees, which can reduce inflammation and a speedy recovery time. Generally speaking, this could mean that he is closer to a 12-month recovery than if he had the procedure with the traditional method. Look at science, look at technology, look at medicine these days. Can you imagine Garrett Cole? And I can imagine, because Garrett Cole is like that. I think he's going to will himself to be back. Garrett Cole being back, where next year at the end of spring training, he's doing some kind of ramp up, and then I don't know, maybe you could see Cole in May. Maybe you could see Cole in May of 2026. So for, Yankee fans that were already panicking, I don't know how many Yankee fans I've seen say the Yankees blew it. They ruined Garrett Cole and Aaron Judge's window. They had the best pitcher and best hitter in the league, and it's over. Pump the brakes. 888-808-1019. Nobody knows anything. Just like you didn't know that there was this internal bracing procedure that they could do, and now they expect him to start his 1 year on the way back. And then same thing with the Mets. Pump the brakes. And Yankee fans, the back and forth is so corny. It's going to go on all year. But like even Yankee fans celebrating Jeff McNeil getting hurt, it's just like it's small beans. It's so minuscule to losing Garrett Cole, a Cy Young winner ace, you're the best pitcher on your staff, who carries you in October. Now you're not going to have him. And then Giancarlo Stanton, who carried you this past October, you're not having him. And then Luis Heel on top of that, the rookie of the year. And I guess don't mention DJ LeMahieu. We did hear today that Oswaldo Cabrera was out, and that sent people into panic again. Oh, no, we don't even have a third baseman now. Cabrera's out. And then we learned he was just ill. He was just sick. So we just got to get out of spring training, man. It's just constant paranoia. We just got to get out of spring training. And congratulations to Waldo. He got engaged. And I don't know when the engagement happened or whatnot. I can't speculate if it was tied to him being scratched. But so what? It's spring training. Scratch all these guys. Scratch all of them and put anybody else in. And I know they're sending young guys down and guys are getting optioned or whatever. Like, send them to where they got to go, assign to minor league camp, whatever. Send them where they got to go. But keep these guys in bubble wrap. Keep these guys safe because we're this close to opening day. We're this close. I mean, the Dodgers and the Cubs are already in Tokyo for the Tokyo series. Baseball is back, I think, next Monday, Tuesday, that series, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday. So we're this close, Tuesday, Wednesday. You know what? Something I saw, and I put it on my Twitter if you follow me. They're advertising for this Tokyo series. And as many people talk about, like, oh, baseball locking out and the Dodgers being the only team that can do what the Dodgers can do. And there's an article that you should read in The Athletic about, are the Dodgers, not the Yankees, the new evil empire? Jason Stark wrote it. We'll go through some parts of it tonight. But speaking about the Dodgers, Guggenheim Partners, who you've heard me talk about a bunch, I told you about, like, their private equity funds, their banks, they're investing. This is what they do. That's how they were able to find this loophole that nobody else can finesse the way they finesse. I come today to find an advertisement on MLB's Twitter with Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Shota Imanaga pitching against Shohei Ohtani and forget Suzuki's first name, Roki Suzuki. And they literally tagged Guggenheim Partners, a global investment and adversary firm with a track record of delivering results through innovative solutions. They literally are partnered, like Guggenheim Partners, the Guggenheim baseball partners, the Guggenheim family that own the Dodgers, are partnering with MLB as the main advertisers of this series. Roki Suzuki, what did I say? And I know you're a Cubs fan. PB on the other side. What did I say? Oh, I said Suzuki. Ichiro Suzuki. Roki Suzuki. Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Munetaka Murakami. Anyway, the Tokyo series is sponsored by Dodgers ownership. So it's a money grab for them. And they're obviously in bed with Major League Baseball. So if anyone thinks Major League Baseball doesn't like what they're doing, the deferred Dodgers, of course they like what they're doing. Stack the deck. And they have completely stacked the deck. And it seems like for the most part, they don't have any injuries. I saw that they had to drop Ha-Seong Kim. They don't have room for him. They deferred him for assignment. I don't like this. This is a guy that they signed in the offseason. He can't even break camp with the team. They didn't even need him. 888-808-1019. So we'll talk baseball to start. We'll talk around the injuries, how you feel. I think Mets fans got to be like kind of excited to see Luis Angel Acuna or Brett Beatty or whoever. And some of you I know have no love for Jeff McNeil. And okay, the bottom part of the lineup is suspect now with Terrens and some young guys. But I mean, that top 4 or 5 of the lineup, 6 in the lineup, is being talked about as the best in baseball or one of the best in baseball. Yankee fans, we get the news of Garrett Cole's speedy recovery, fingers crossed, and timeline for Stanton, which we did not have. Cabrera is not hurt. He was just sick. And we just got 2 weeks to get through here, 2 weeks to survive. When we come back, I will plant some seeds around Aaron Rodgers. Will we know in 2 weeks where Aaron Rodgers is going to be? And I just think that picture of him on the beach is hilarious. Like, this dude is like... If you think Aaron Rodgers isn't aware of paparazzi being outside of his house or people being around, or like you think he doesn't like being the center of attention, he has dragged this thing out like for so long. He's not going to retire. Anybody thinking he's going to retire, there's no way he's retiring. He's not going out, one, where the Jets are the ones that kick him to the curb. Two, why would he be talking to 3 different teams if he was planning on retiring? He's trying to figure out where he wants to go. And again, yes, I will give some love and some credit to Mikal Bridges. We'll talk about Mikal Bridges pushing the coach out. So when they have a second round exit, they'll be able to fire Tibbs. I'm just kidding. Keith McPherson on the Fan. There's plenty of sports to talk about. We'll get to the basketball, the hockey, the Aaron Rodgers quarterback saga. But first, we'll start with the injuries out of Mets camp, out of Yankees camp, and just how we're feeling with 2 weeks to go until opening day. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back. You're listening to The Fan. Yo, what up? What up? What up? What up? Pam, what up? Rodon really opening day starter over Freed. Yeah, it's lining up like that. I'll talk about it. I'll come back with that, actually. It's in my notes. I got your second email, Brody. We'll talk. The reason I'm upset with the Yankees is that we are receiving $27 million from Cole's contract and $15 million from Tampa. Where's the money being allocated? To the bank. It's going straight to the bank. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't have to use it right now. Where would Boone's wife, where would you want the Yankees to spend that money right now? Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson, JD Martinez. They're not doing that. But what's up? Keith was good, bro. Monmouth County in here again. Sure thing. What are my Giants doing? We need a QB and right guard. Enough with the trash backup lineman signings. Well, you need depth. The Giants need depth. They lead the league in different offensive line configurations, so they need depth. I'd sign more. I'd draft some too. I'd draft some linemen as well. Is a shortened season truly a real thing? Players really going to want to take pay cuts for playing less games? Nah, the players union will push back on that. And by the time we realign, the money's going to be so stupid anyway. They won't care. Mets injuries are weeks. Yankees injuries are months and all year. LOL, keep it a buck. No comparison. No, you can compare it because there's multiple injuries in spring training. You can compare it because there are multiple guys that will be missing opening day. So if we're talking about the entire season, obviously there's a whole trade deadline at the halfway point of the season to improve your team. This is a sports radio show, baseball, PR baseball, Puerto Rico baseball. Random guy who's got a baseball as his Twitter picture. We do these nightly. So every night we come in with like a take that has to do with today. I can't give you a take for July or August or the whole year. You know what I'm saying? So the take today is, hey, another injured player on a New York baseball team. And so we have a few injuries to speak on. Is it something in the water here? Why are all the New York sports teams injury prone as hell every year? It's just louder here. There's injuries everywhere. It's just louder here. Bobby Witt Jr. I saw got hurt. Christian Walker got hurt. Jerickson Profar got hurt. Ken Waldichuk is out. I just saw that. I'm looking at like MLB injuries right now. You know, Ronald Acuna is out to start the season. Spencer Strider out. Yeah, we'll see. That was my promo.
Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. All tournament long, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code.
Appreciate you, bro.
To get started today. Must be 21.
You know,
gambling problem?
You on break or you just you watching doing work? Or you allowed to be in the chat? Appreciate it.
See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Should Yankees have let Cole go when he opted out due to last year's injury, knowing it could affect him in the future? No, we'll talk about it. I heard somebody call up today and say that, and it's like Cole is damn near captain of the team. No, and I know Boone and or not Boone. I know Cashman has treated some of our favorite players like they're just assets, like they're just names on a piece of paper, but they weren't going to do that to Cole. Cole wanted to be here. They wanted him here. They needed him here. We just didn't know he was going to get hurt. So it's tough, but what are you going to do? They're like that. Hindsight is 2020. So like in hindsight, we can say, oh man, well, you know, when Cole opted out, we should have, but like, no. Flag to the Nets, been my dream. Flag is hurt, and I think that ups the chances for him to come back. He already was doing the running back one more year. I think with this injury now, he's not going to be able to play. why wouldn't he be more inclined to go to school, especially if he doesn't get to play in a tournament? Yeah, I've talked to him before. He only wants to talk Islanders, and like he's got one mission and one mission only to trash the Islanders. And I don't even think I said Islanders. Yeah, I'm probably not going to get to him. I got so many more things to plant before we get to 12. So it, yeah, 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 got it. Takes two to tango. They got to trade for him, bro. They got to trade for him. Are you know? Are the White Sox giving us Luis Robert? Are the Twins trading us Willie Castro? I don't think so. And we're back. 888-808-1019. Let me plant some more seeds out here before we get to the phones. Keith McPherson on the fan. Good to be back. Got this show tonight. This is quick. And then another one tomorrow. And tomorrow will be the first time we get to hear Dave Sims and Susan Waldman as a tandem calling the New York Yankees. Bam, bam, ba-na-na-na-na-na-na. Bam, bam, ba-na-na-na-na-na. I can't wait to hear their perspective, as I do want spring training to end as far as these games and just kind of keeping players safe and healthy, as I was talking about. I am excited for Dave and Susan to start their journey together calling games. Brendan Cuddy put out an article about, Dave taking over for John here. Let me pull that up because we'll get some quotes from that too. But what I'll say is those two are encyclopedias of knowledge. They both know ball. I think you can learn a lot listening to them, and I really want their opinions on these modern day Yankees, not just the players, but the organization. I'm just tired of hearing some of these same narratives, right? Now that everybody's getting hurt and it's starting to, people like, oh, well, at least they can grow beards. Bro, like it was long overdue. It was almost 50 years of that. At some point, it was going to end. Did they need to win the World Series and then take away the beard policy? No, they traded for a closer who, when they asked him about it, was like, I don't prefer to be clean shaven. And they said, you know what? Enough is enough. And I tip my cap to Hal. He got in front of it before somebody else could come through and be like, I'm not playing, or I don't want to play for your team because I want to look how I want to look. It was antiquated. It wasn't doing anything. Like, I hate to use the phrase boomer, but like people are sounding like boomers holding on to the past with, oh, well, it's tradition and the Yankees should have never. Like, what does it matter, bro? You've now seen a couple weeks of these guys growing their beards out. You now have seen a couple of weeks of these guys having beards. Did it look that much different? Is it jarring? Another thing with the song. Oh, now they're not playing Frank Sinatra after losses. Good. And some of you boomers don't have Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. So you don't understand when the young fans are in the stadium getting trolled by other fan bases. You don't understand what it feels like to be tagged on something like that, where for years they've been mocking the Yankees for playing New York, New York, the song that we sing when we win, right? When Volpe hits the grand slam and the Yankees don't get swept in the World Series and they get that first win at home and the whole stadium sings New York, New York. Nice, lovely. But then the next game, they blow a 5-0 lead, and they cue up the same song, and the Dodgers fans are all over the visiting dugout over there, sitting in section like 124, 25 to 20 to 130. I live these things. Some of these people that are talking about, oh, it doesn't make a difference. Yeah, it might not make a difference to you at the crib. It might not make a difference to you listening on the radio or watching TV at home. In that stadium, it makes a difference. It makes you sick walking out. A song that you sang for happy times, you're getting mocked as people sing it when they literally eliminate you from the World Series. 888-808-1019. I can't wait to hear John and Susan, or not John and Susan. I gotta see, it's already year one, and or it's already approaching game one tomorrow, and it's gonna take a while probably to not say John and Susan. 20 years of that. Dave and Susan. I can't wait to hear their perspective, and I don't know what they think about it. This is what I think about it. But I'm a young guy. I get it. All businesses have to evolve. All businesses have to change, evolve or dissolve, change with the times. Nobody's screaming about, well, I can't go to Blockbuster and get the movie I want for $8 anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like things, they go out of style, they change. And I think the Yankees being progressive and staying with the times is smart. I don't think it has anything to do with the injuries or the play on the field. That's just bad luck. And hopefully Rodon has better luck. Man, there's a video I was just watching Austin Wells on Corey Kluber's podcast. I'll see if I can pull up the audio. And he's talking about, that night that Volpe did hit that grand slam and how the stadium was rocking. And then he also talked about the ALDS where Carlos Rodon struck out the side to start the game and how he had chills and the stadium was rocking. He said he felt like he was floating then. Well, I was in there for that game and it was like, we couldn't believe it. And it ended up being too good to be true. But now I think Carlos Rodon is in line to be your opening day starter in the Bronx this year. And if you already weren't hype about the prospects of this season, if you already weren't excited about getting things going without Stanton, without Cole, without Heel, well, now Rodon is going to take the ball on opening day. And I feel like he always gets the ball in these like pressure-filled situations. He always gets the ball when the Yankees need him, and it's not even 50-50. It's like 70-30, 70% chance that he's going to fail or he's going to flop, 30% chance that he comes through, if that. 888-808-1019. So you don't have Cole, you don't have Stanton, you don't have Heel, but you do have, like I mentioned, Paul Goldschmidt. You do have Jason Dominguez. That's another thing, too, another narrative I can't wait to be done. It is what it is. I had one night where I leaned into, can we see Dominguez in center field? I had one night where I leaned into, can we just try to put Trent Grisham in left field, Dominguez in center field? With 2 weeks left in spring training, they're not going to do it. They're not. Cashman spoke on it, and he said, this is his lane. You're an outfielder. You got to figure it out, son. You're young, and we're going to have to just live with it. Hopefully the ball doesn't find him, but the narrative of Dominguez in left field, like, I'm ready for that to end. Hopefully he can just shut people up. But that's where he is. There's no use in suggesting anything else. The Yankees made their decision. They're not going to change. Like I just saw there was a Randy Miller article, like the Yankees are nearing their decision on, you need his bat in the lineup. What are you going to DH him and put Trent Grisham there? Like, who knows? And so much of this season is riding on the captain, Aaron Judge. So much of this season is on his shoulders. He's got to stay healthy, and he's got to hit right away. He's got to lead. I know Boone has done a good job in the past from the next man up seasons. I know Boone has done a good job in the past rallying these guys, getting them ready to play, even when they don't, have their full complement of players. But yeah, Judge absolutely has to come out and hit and stay healthy, but they easily can throw up the 4 and walk him. So, here we go. 2 weeks from today, opening day for Major League Baseball. We'll be there in the Bronx. I just recorded a promo, actually. I think we can start letting people know about it. I'll be at stands across from the stadium, 11 a.m. to 1. I am. I'm out there the whole day. So I'll probably be there with the gang like 9 a.m. and hit everywhere. And then pull up at stands by 11 a.m. We'll start to really get after it. So 888-808-1019. Let me at least take a call here before we get to the first break. But those are the seeds I wanted to plant around the Yankees, around the Mets, around spring training, injuries, and what we know right now. Nick and Dobbs Ferry on the Fan. You were first. You got it.
Before you talk, I want to say I'm a younger guy. I'm 28, and you're spot on about the Frank Sinatra after the games. I mean, I've been trolled so hard by opposing, fan bases, walking out sad,
Yeah, I mean, the Mets fans did it to us this past year, and it's like they have the right. They're in New York, but like I feel like some of these older people that I've heard talk about it, I'm like, you guys don't get it because you're not in that digital world.
I understand what they're talking about with tradition and stuff like that, but they don't understand. Like, we have cell phones now, you know what I mean? Like, they're just walking down the tunnel and stuff, and I'm going to, to the train station and everything, and I got, Dodgers fans or Met fans, recording me. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, I've lived it too. Braves fans, Reds fans, people from all over that come to New York and that's the thing, bro. It's a tourist attraction. And so that song, it's like they're, like you're leaving Disneyland or something. They played it for all the tourists, but hey, it's done now. They heard us. It's done now.
Yeah, so I'm all cool with that. But I'll get to my point. We got a commercial. So we're like with Aaron Judge. I look at his seasons and everything like that, and he's had about 4 great seasons. I mean, he's had great seasons all the time, except sometimes he'll have the injury bug or whatever, which I'm not saying baseball, like you just have to accept it. But for a guy that's about to turn, I think, what is he turning 32 or 33 in April?
33.
33. Okay, so you assume that he's got about 3 more years of mashing, especially this day and age, the athlete takes care of himself a little bit better. I mean, he's not going to push it past 36, 37 like the steroid era, but if he can, that's awesome. But why wouldn't Hal go all out for at least the Soto signing? Cashman did a great job with the Soto trade and everything, but I'm not even talking about Soto. I'm talking about other things. Why wouldn't he go all out to try to maximize one of the greatest statistical Yankees? Granted, he's not going to have the full career as like Mickey Mantle or whatever. But I mean, Joe DiMaggio spent 4 years in the Army and stuff like that. His career numbers aren't great. It doesn't even matter about him. But I'm saying, why wouldn't the team know that we have one of these, killer Yankees that everybody's going to talk about for the next 90 years?
Thanks for the call, Nick. And I'll take us right up to break with the next 2 minutes to talk about this. One, let's start with Judge. It's one thing for Hal or Cashman or the Yankees to build the team around him. They have built teams around him that have gotten to the American League Championship Series 4 times, 2017, 2019, 2022, and then the World Series in 2024. It's him. And I love Judge just as much as the next Yankee fan. I've watched his whole career. I was there on Judgment Day when he came up and homered with Tyler Austin. I was there when he dropped the pop-up in the World Series. Like, I've seen his whole career like you. I root for the guy. But if we're going to talk about going all out for the guy, he hasn't shown up in October. If he was himself in October, we'd have one of these, right? One of these trips to the ALCS turn into a World Series. If he performed in this past World Series from the get-go, maybe, like, if he just was regular season Judge in the postseason, maybe he'd have a ring already. And now the window is closing. And when you talk about Hal, and I'm not trying to defend Hal and Cashman because they never go all in. And you know that. They're going to sell you on Aaron Hicks. Oh, Aaron Hicks had a good offseason. He's ready. Like, come on. They're going to sell you on DJ LeMahieu. Oh, third base is going to be like, come on. They can't trade Marcus Stroman. So, now Marcus Stroman is a very vital part of that rotation. It is like they don't ever go all the way in. They go just about enough where you're like, okay, we got some good players, we got some talent, but then there's always little holes. Whether it's running it back with Rizzo or Verdugo or just all these different Josh Donaldson, all of these different years where you're like, no, like that's got to be better. This could be fixed, and then they mess up with their own allocation of funds. DJ LeMahieu is making too much money. You have 2 players in Cole and Stanton making over $30 million that can't play. Rodon's making too much money. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, why don't they ever go all in? Because they have a self-imposed ceiling right now there's a luxury tax that exists, and they don't want to go any further past it, they always go just up to it. They won't go all the way into the deep end. They put their toe in the water. We're in the water, but we're not going to go all the way in. 888-808-1019. Keith McPherson on the Fan. Call me up. We'll be right back. Let's see. Yeah, like that's what I was talking about before, bro. We need to stop this. Cole is loyal. He's the captain for the pitching staff and could help the young kids coming up. He will. And when he's back, you know, Clark Schmidt was like, I didn't like the quote, but I felt the quote. He said, I said, yo, you can't say anything on the radio without like it turning into something like I'm not like, and I gotta clear that up, but whatever. I literally don't care. And you'll hear when I come back. But Clark Schmidt's quote about oh, I think we just gained a pitching coach. You always had that in Cole. We lost an ace. Now he's a full-time pitching coach, not a player. That's all that is. If Flag stays, the Boozer brothers might flip Duke for another school. So be it. Or come play with him. Legacy, you following your pop steps or not? He's been available for how long now? That's what I'm saying with Cole. He's been Mr. Reliable, consistent. Mike, what's up, man? It's good. It's cool to be able to interact on this platform. You know, the idea came to me in this 2025 new year. I've been on the Fan for 3 years. There's not enough video clips of me. That has changed. And there is no live stream of me. That has changed. I have the power to change it. Don't get me wrong, but since Justin Fields is signing with the Jets as a QB, I just think that they just mess up their QBs for some reason. They have historically, if history repeats itself, another quarterback goes to fail with the Jets, but they have messed up quarterbacks that they've drafted. This guy is already being called a bust. This guy is already being labeled as a messed up quarterback. This is the reverse now. This is redemption now. This is like, you know, his chance to come here and right the ship. The facial hair rule is so dumb and overrated. As long as they don't look like the dudes on the Phillies, Brandon Marsh, Jason Worth, yeah, they won't. They'll never look like that. Hurd Stan optimistic return date is Memorial Day weekend. Pretty on par to get him playing in warm weather only and peak towards September, October. Things will begin. Yeah, I like that idea. And I think that's just about where they are. Now, let me queue up these. Let me queue up these articles, yo. Meet Dave Sims, the new voice of the Yankees who isn't trying to be John Sterling. It was chilly and the cloudless blue sky hung bright over Yankee Stadium. Blah, 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 blah. Dave Sims. Let's see. Surveying the stadium, Sims drew a late February air. Close. Magic power. He pictured Yankee Stadium on the field. Just trying to be cool and calm and collected. Saying to myself, can you believe this? I'm reading an article right now. I had that other article too that I need to read. Or reread. Glanced at it on my phone earlier. Okay. This is the Dodgers article. Yeah, I'm going to come back and read some of these. All right, here we go.
You are now in the mix with DJ PB on the fan.
PB Radio and TV on the ones and twos. Your boy KM on the mic. All right. 888-808-1019 as we proceed. March 13th, turning into 14th. Friday on the way. I think there's like a red moon tonight, full moon eclipse or something like that tonight I saw on Twitter. I'll probably get out of here and go home right as that's happening, I think, too. It's like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, full moon eclipse peaks at 3 a.m. Hopefully I'm going to bed. But sometimes I get home and I can't stop thinking, man. I'll be thinking like, is this actually the beginning of my nightmare? I've told y'all about my nightmare, right? I have a nightmare where the Yankees do not win a World Series during this window. Judge ages out, Cole ages out, Stanton ages out. And I've worked my entire life to get this close to the Yankees, to get to this level, to get to this status right next to Yankee Stadium on WFAN, Yankees radio network. And they get to a World Series, and it's the worst feeling ever how they lost it. You just never get over it, especially now with Cole hurt. You think about Cole's 2 starts, how they blew those games in the World Series. This is my nightmare. This is my actual nightmare. And you know what could actually make the reality worse than anything I dreamed? I didn't dream this part. I didn't have this part in a sleep state. This is just starting to materialize in front of us, right? The generational Juan Soto skips town, says it's a Mets town when the Mets start winning, and that somebody offered him more money, and he chose the Mets because of family, and he wants to build a dynasty over there. What if they do? What if the richest owner in the sport that I never dreamed of owning the team, and one of the best baseball minds in the sport I didn't imagine coming over there, and all of these other factors that play in, from Francisco Lindor to Mark Vientos emerging as an all-star, Brandon Nimmo returning to all-star form. And who knows what their rotation looks like? Their bullpen's a lot better. Maybe they do become the talk of the town with the Yankees. Like, that's a nightmare. That is a nightmare scenario that could play out this year. I'm not going for it. I'm not going for it. In reality, we don't know what's about to happen. In 2 weeks, we'll start to find out. 888-808-1019. So I was telling you guys about these articles. I'm going to read a little bit from this article and then take a break. PB, let me know in my ear exactly when we got to get out, just so I know how much time I can read from this article. And okay, that call disappeared. Good. So now I'm not taking that call. I'm just going to go to the article. Perfect. So this article in The Athletic about, are the Dodgers not the Yankees, the new evil empire? Don't pass the Vader helmet yet, by Jason Stark, came out today at 1:03 p.m. And I guess Jason Stark went around spring training asking different folks about what he thought about the Yankees, right? Everybody loves to drink the Yankee tears. They love it when the Yankees are down. Tale as old as time, Yankee haters, right? And that's because of the Yankees' dominance over so many years. Well, he asked Red Sox manager Alex Cora, are the Yankees still the Yankees? He said, they're still the Yankees, man. I'm not buying that. They have to be the evil empire. They're the Yankees. He asked Rays manager Kevin Cash, whose home games will be played at George M. Steinbrenner Field. And we got news today that the Rays, that plan that they put out there to build a new stadium in St. Pete, that plan that they floated and sold to their fans down there about a brand new stadium in St. Pete, not the one Trashicana Field that got torn up. No, they're not building a new stadium now. Those plans got thrown in the trash, and they're going back to the trash can. And they stopped their plans of building a new ballpark, and instead they're just going to rebuild or refurbish the old place. So, yeah, they asked Kevin Cash, the Rays manager, his thoughts. And it's funny, right? These two guys, former players. He says, I don't look at them any differently than I did last year. The year they went to the World Series. I'm not going to challenge anything Mr. Steinbrenner says because he's been incredibly gracious to us in letting the Rays play the season at their spring training stadium. But I think they're really good. A rival American League executive said, I'm not going to be playing the world's smallest violin for the Yankees. And I don't think they're asking anybody to. So as all of this preseason hype dies down for the New York Yankees, I think what people are going to come around to as the games begin, and Lord, let the games begin. I'm so tired of the spring training games and the back and forth and all the stuff that has nothing to do with the results we're about to see. I think what the world is going to see is, yeah, they can lose Garrett Cole. They can lose Giancarlo Stanton. This is a new team anyway. This is a new team that has to find a new identity anyway. You want them to destroy what happened last year. You want them to rebuild and change and take on a new identity this year as they try to get back to the World Series. Maybe it isn't as the 1 seed. Maybe it isn't as the winners of the American League East. Maybe it is as a team that's got to scratch and claw. And then at the deadline, Brian Cashman, as you know, somebody in my chat, let me go back to the chat. And the chat has been great. Appreciate you guys that are live watching and then during the breaks having, these conversations and, putting little things in my head that I can add to my notes and talk about. But in the chat, Boone's wife is this guy's handle in the chat. He says, the reason I'm upset with the Yankees is that they're receiving $27 million from Cole's contract and $15 million from Tampa. Where is the money being allocated? It's allocated or relegated. It's put in the bank. It's put where they keep their money at. They're not going out there today to buy Lance Lynn or JD Martinez. You know what I'm saying? They're not going out there today to try to improve this team. They have enough bodies, and they're going to go into the season and see how the season plays out. It's a wait and see approach, and I don't disagree with that. Save that money, like I'm saying, for if this team really has enough holes, if this team is struggling, or if this team is winning, and you're like, wow, a couple moves at the deadline will really put us over the top. 888-808-1019, and that isn't until July 31st, so we got a long way to go. If you don't want to get on the ride, don't get on the ride. I know there's a ton of Yankee fans that popped up last year for Juan Soto. Juan Soto had the most fanboys I've ever seen. More than Judge, more than A-Rod, Jeter. I've never been at the stadium and seen more guys showing up to just chant Juan Soto. And that's your right. But Juan Soto is gone. So if you feel some type of way about that, he's not that many stops away if you want to go root for him over there. And then you saw how many people pulled up for the World Series. People came from all over the globe. Yankee fans united globally. Yankee fans that, they're reaching in their closet to pull out their merch from the 2000s, late 90s. You know what I'm saying? There's Yankee fans pulling out their Mariano Duncan t-shirts. Oh, I'm back, baby. World Series, we're back. And that's cool and all. But at the same time, let some of those people fall off. Let the ticket prices drop. Let us have some space to operate and do our thing. Let the actual diehard fans die hard. And I was hearing a narrative about that as well. There are no diehard Yankee fans. They're all bandwagon fans, Keith. You're all bandwagon fans. Listen, there is a young group of Yankee fans. They never saw a World Series win. They look at Yankeeography. They look at this old Yankee stuff, and it makes them mad. They hear these tales of dynasty and three-peat and how the Yankees dominated and how you just knew the Yankees were going to win and what the old stadium was like. And they're like, yeah, whatever. They're showing up to the stadium now. This is their era. This is their time. And I believe guys that are stepping into the pinstripes for the first time, like Paul Goldschmidt and Cody Bellinger and Devin Williams and Max Fried, those guys are not punting this season. Those guys are not woe is me. Those guys aren't thinking, well, we lost Garrett Cole, because this is their first year on the team. They never played with Garrett Cole. So as we embark on another season, I find myself excited for it. So much so I'm like, man, I waited to book spring training till after my wife's birthday until later in the month, where like it's going to be 86 this Saturday. I'm like, I should have went, and booked the weekend. But honestly, having a kid now, and shout out to the parents out there, like traveling with a baby, traveling with my son. Nah, bro. Love him, but like he makes everything harder. You got to pack an extra suitcase. We got to bring his travel car seat. We got to have a snack bag for him. We got to have toys for him. Getting on the plane. Like, I'm the guy on the plane now. Like, yeah, that's my kid, loud as hell. So I'm not trying to go for that long. I'm going there Monday to Friday. I think last year I went like 7 days. It was too long. But what I'm getting at is like, I haven't even gone to spring training yet. All these injuries have happened. It is over as far as these last few games. Keep everybody healthy. We are this close to getting into real baseball games. Maybe the Yankees are trash. Maybe the Yankees are the Yankees. Maybe the Mets are good. Maybe the Mets are the Mets. We don't know. Maybe some team starts off 40-0, and that's why we watch it. 888-808-1019. Keith McPherson on the Fan. When we say hello and good morning on the other side, I'm about to hit you with my Aaron Rodgers thoughts and takes. We'll talk a little puck. We'll talk a little hoops, college hoops, and NBA. I'm running out of time already. I got 2 hours left. Call me up. We'll be right back. Yo, get your rest. Prioritize your rest, y'all. Go to sleep. If I could go to sleep, I'd be asleep right now. Like, I went to sleep last night, 10:30, 11. Like, and it instantly makes me yawn. Going to sleep. Like, I've been doing this now for what's about to be 3.5 years. Going to sleep before like midnight is crazy to me now. And especially having a baby, my son is up by 7 a.m. once it's light out. If I can sleep 8 hours before he starts yelling, what? Amazing. Amazing. All right, so I'm going to lean back in. Okay, let me see now. I'm going to do the injuries across the league. St. John's. I think I saw BT say something. No, I don't need that now. Let me go to BT. I'll go to BT's page. BT had something that I wanted to read. Yeah, Rick wasn't wrong. Too much blue today. Very surprised. Tomorrow night needs to be different. Atmosphere was So I guess BT was saying it wasn't enough St. John's fans.
Oh, good. He's got catfish on top of it.
Oh, you just saw this for the first time? Yeah.
I mean,
he has a calf strain.
Wow.
But they told us that today, and then they told us they're expecting him back by Memorial Day weekend. So I'm like, why did you add an injury and then give us a timetable for return? Just don't. Let me see here. Got MLB news, NHL.
When he retires, I almost want somebody to sit him down. Yo, stop lifting. Just do yoga, because you're going to be unable to walk around because you get hurt tripping over the
He
sidewalk.
can't stop lifting.
Oh my God.
He probably is in a bad space right now. They probably told me he can't do curls with his elbows.
Anything.
He's probably like, what do I do then?
Oh my God, stop.
But what do you mean? Like, what am I supposed to do?
You're too stiff. You think it's going to get better when you get into your 40s and 50s? Bro, got to loosen it up a little bit, man. Good morning at 12 o'clock. I'm Marco Belletti, and this report is brought to you by New York State Tax Department's Direct File Program. How about Joe Flacco as the Giants quarterback? Giants met with the 4-year-old as they prepare to entertain Russell Wilson later today. They're trying to go through all the possibilities. They continue to wait word from Aaron Rodgers. Rangers get two much needed points. They outlast the Wild in overtime 3-2. That and a Braden Schneider game winner. Igor Shesterkin 26 saves. Blue Shirts tied for that final wild card. Devils, they topped Edmonton 3-2. Goal, a couple of assists for Jesper Bratt. Meanwhile, the Mets lost Jeff McNeil with an oblique strain as he won't be there for opening day. Big East, you got UConn now a 51-50 advantage on Villanova, still 8 minutes remaining. Everything else done. The St. John's Rock Butler 78-57. Marquette up in at Xavier 89-87. And Creighton outlasted DePaul 85-81 double overtime. The Bulls rallied from 12 down. They finished off the Nets 116-110. 41 degrees, cloudy skies, Central Park, and that's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
All right, here we go. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. Let's do it, man. Some breaking news, but not like break the glass. Nothing really that too many New Yorkers are going to care about. But if you're a football fan, you'll care about this, and this will lead me down to the beach where Aaron Rodgers is walking around. Sources: Jeremy Fowler reports Miles Sanders plans to sign a 1-year deal with the Dallas Cowboys. Bro, they are so mid. Now they have Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders in the backfield. Rico Dowdle goes and signs with the Carolina Panthers. And the Cowboys are just not serious about anything. Like, this is what they're going to do with their running back room. Don't draft Ashton GT either. But, as we're starting to see trades and signings and rumors and whatnot. You know, I got to play DeMarcus Ware. The Fleas is coming in and PB is walking out. So we got the producer switch for the overnight. DeMarcus Ware had some things to say about, Dallas being his home, but now he's in Seattle and how he feels about the Dallas Cowboys' chances. And, he's getting up there in age. So, he's 32 and his production is down. I mean, he was the law for a while, but he ain't the law anymore. He was out there when, Aaron Rodgers beat them back in 2016. I think he was. Yeah. I think he might even been with the team. He was. Was he with them in 2014 when Dez caught it? I think that was his rookie year. But Dez didn't catch it. But did he? He did. Anyway, that leads me into Aaron Rodgers. See, that's the segue. You know, the days of Aaron Rodgers with the Packers and those wins and the MVPs and that stuff, that's over. But Aaron Rodgers got these Jedi mind tricks, and we fall for him every time. Not me, though. Your Jedi mind tricks don't work on me, Aaron Rodgers. I just work on the fans, so I have to talk about it. Aaron Rodgers is a song that doesn't end. And, yeah, he's got wired headphones like I have because we got to plug in our headphones to use the stereo in here. He also used those same wired headphones on Pat McAfee. I guess that's a thing with him, old school. But he's walking down the water on the beach, in the sand on the beach, barefoot with the towel over himself and a backwards hat. And it seems like he's contemplating and pondering life. And he's not retiring. So that's one thing. Let's get that out of here. He's not retiring. And even if he does retire, he'll come back. We've seen that before. I think in order of teams, it's got to be Steelers 1, Vikings 2, Giants 3. And I say that because the Steelers are Sixburg, winning franchise, right? They have the right culture. They always win as far as having a winning record. And Aaron Rodgers could potentially come there and be the difference. They have star players on that team. They just added another star player to that team, right? They have Watt. They have Fitzpatrick. They have Hayward. You know what I'm saying? And I just saw they added Darius Slay. Going out there, he's done from the Eagles. And then the Eagles signed Adoree Jackson. And that made me think that Adoree Jackson is going over there to play the Darius Slay role. But anyway, Aaron Rodgers, he could take all the time he wants for real. And the more time he takes, the more rumors and the more anticipation builds, right? I hear Evan talking about this Aaron Rodgers vortex that Giants fans are in, and it's crazy, right? You just watch this guy win 5 games for the Jets. You just watched him do a whole lot of nothing for the Jets in 2 years, but the Giants are so down bad that they've become the Jets. The Giants are so down bad, they should have fired this GM, should have fired this head coach. But yet these guys are making the decisions, and it looks like that they might crap out. Let's talk about the Giants, right? Joe Flacco. I'd love it if Joe Flacco comes through, or Russell Wilson. Then I get to tell my stories over and over again of when I not met Joe Flacco, but saw him in the flesh. Not met Russell Wilson, but was right next to both of these guys. It's funny because both of those guys were playing quarterback in high school the same time I was playing quarterback in high school. I didn't make it. I ended up going pro radio. They went pro NFL, and they're still doing it all these years later. Joe Flacco from Audubon, New Jersey, South Jersey. For him to go play for the home team, he'd have to go to the Eagles. That never materialized. But there's a chance that he might end up here. He might end up in Jersey with the Giants because Aaron Rodgers, why would he want to play for the Giants outside of already being in New Jersey with the house and wanting to stick it to Woody? Those are the two narratives that, like, you know how much money Aaron Rodgers is one of the richest NFL players all time. It doesn't matter. He can get a house anywhere. He can rent a place anywhere. He could buy a house anywhere. It's not that expensive for him to rent a nice house in Western Pennsylvania, Minnesota, the Twin Cities. The house thing doesn't matter. And then also the stick it to Woody. I think Aaron Rodgers does enough ayahuasca. He's got a chip on his shoulder for his own personal reasons. I don't think he cares to stick it to Woody. He already did. He already stuck it to Woody in the last 2 years. He didn't have to do any more damage to Woody. He didn't have to do anything to Aaron Glenn or Darren Muji either. So all the talk about, oh, Aaron Rodgers' house or him right here in MetLife sticking it to the – and like, who's to say he sticks it to Woody? Who's to say he wins a game with the Giants? Who says he does anything with the Giants? Woody might get the last laugh there. So I just really don't think Aaron Rodgers, like having the option to go to Pittsburgh or Minnesota, 2 teams that actually win, 2 teams that have like more talent. Malik Neighbors is great, but I'd rather go play with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison indoors in Minnesota. That gets me the second option. Steelers are number 1 option. But Minnesota, Kevin O'Connell, that offense, those top 2 receivers, and that building, playing indoors, playing your home games indoors at Aaron Rodgers' age. The only drawback to Minnesota is full circle Brett Favre. And it's crazy how the universe never unconnects. He might have to go full circle Brett Favre, follow exactly in his footsteps. But that, like, I think that's more attractive than MetLife Stadium jersey on his old bones, playing in indoors in Minnesota with, arguably one of the top 5 receiver tandems and a team that finds a way to win every year. And then if he wants to stick it to anybody, go back and stick it to Green Bay. 888-808-1019. So now we've entered the Aaron Rodgers vortex on the night shift. That's my thoughts on Aaron Rodgers and, the teams waiting him and what his thought process should be. As, we're waiting on pro days and somehow. So I didn't realize, I guess the Big 12 is doing a pro day together. That's lit. I like that. Instead of just being teams, because I guess there's not really that many players from each team. They're having a combined pro day. And I think that's going to be pretty good. Ollie Gordon, the running back from Oklahoma State. Devin Neal, running back from Kansas. Jimmy Horn Jr. from Colorado. Shedeur Sanders from Colorado. Travis Hunter from Colorado. I'm kind of still, like, as much as I think that the Giants are going to try to take Cam Ward, they got to trade up to get him, and they got to give up so much to get him. And I don't think that these guys are in a position to do that. And I don't think Cam Ward is that much of a difference maker than Shedeur. I really don't. I don't think either one of them are Jaden Daniels. But to give up, to get fleeced, to move up 2 spots when you had the number 1 pick after losing 10 games in a row, that's just backwards. It's just more nonsense from these guys. That's another thing that's going to go on their ledger. The other thing that's going to go on their ledger is when Daniel Jones beats out Anthony Richardson and is a starting quarterback indoors in Indy. Now, I don't know if they're going to win any games, but Shane Steichen was able to get wins out of Gardner Minshew a couple years ago. He was able to get, decent quarterback play out of Joe Flacco at times. But Joe Flacco is cooked. Daniel Jones not cooked yet. Daniel Jones is rich. Daniel Jones is another rich quarterback in the NFL. That's going to go on their resume as well. How they handle Daniel Jones. And if Daniel Jones figures it out with the Colts, and figures it out just means, like, if he throws 20 touchdowns, wins some games, it's going to be like, well, damn, he did it over there. And he's going to be healthier. A year removed from the ACL. And he's fresh. He didn't play. He didn't play from week 10 on. So, I don't know. That's something else to look at with the hard knocks of Shane and Dable. They should be fired because it just makes everything more difficult. All the decision-making is more difficult. I think they've done a good job here so far, but, like, it's all on paper. It's all theoretical with the guys that they've brought in. Paulson Adebo and Javon Holland. I think, they've made some moves. Chauncey Golston. I think they've made some moves that, like, okay, shore up their defense, but they still have a ton of holes. They lost a bunch of games. They still have a long way to go before we can say, yeah, this team is a lot better. And then just, like, they can improve and still lose with the strength of schedule that they have. They can still lose. And not having a quarterback. Russell Wilson completed his trip to Cleveland today. And I saw people making jokes that, like, Russell Wilson is following Kenny Pickett, right? He went to Pittsburgh, got that job, and Kenny forced his way out, or didn't force his way out, voiced his frustration, and they traded him. The Eagles trade Kenny Pickett to Cleveland, and Russ shows up for an interview. I think Russ, between us here in Tennessee, Cleveland, now let's do him, right? If the three teams for Aaron Rodgers are the Steelers, Vikings, and Giants, when we talk about Russ, who I met at the UVA football camp back in 2005, I think Russ has to be looking at, and I mean, I think the Steelers should still be in that. So let's add a fourth team. So for Russ, I think number one would be the Giants. I think it's just long overdue. Him, Ciara, like I said the other night, they are socialites. They like to be in the scene. There are so many events, and I don't know what's that gala or that ball, the Met Gala. They'll be at the Met Gala with a stupid outfit on, matching next year. Book it if they weren't already there. Like, it just makes too much sense for Russell Wilson and Ciara to come to New York. So I'll put the Giants one. I'll put the Steelers two, because, you know, what if Aaron Rodgers chooses the Giants or chooses the Vikings? They might have to run it back with Russell Wilson, but I think they want better, or they just want different. I think his meditation and visualizing himself doing things, and then his always positive rah-rah. Like, you know, there was there was a clip of him running to Cam Hayward, and Cam Hayward was pissed off at the end of the regular season. And Russell Wilson was trying to fire him up, and he said something like they were in a losing streak. I think they lost the last 4 or 5 in a row. And Russell Wilson said something along the lines like, yeah, we just lost 5 in a row, or we just lost 4 in a row. Let's go win the next 4. And it's like, nah, bro. Like, we're losing because you guys can't score points. Like, miss me with that. 888-808-1019. So for Russ, I think it's Giants, Steelers, Titans, Browns. Who wants to go play for the Browns? And you don't want to play for the Browns in your division that you were just in. No one wants to go to Ohio. Ciara, she's not going to Ohio. At least if she goes to Nashville, she might pop up at one of the honky tonks. She might pop up and perform somewhere down there. But yeah, here we are waiting to see where these guys go. And last but not least, famous Jameis. Jameis is waiting on that Giants job, because Saquon told him that job was available at the Super Bowl. He's been waiting for that Giants call. He's just waiting. He's waiting for Aaron Rodgers to go to Pittsburgh, and for Russ to go to Tennessee, or for Aaron Rodgers to go to Minnesota and Russ to go back to Pittsburgh, and boom, baby. The Giants are going to have to choose between Joe Flacco and Jameis Winston. Who would you rather see? I would tell you right now, you'd rather see Jameis. Joe Flacco, he can still play. He can still throw it. He's always had the cannon, but you'd rather have Jameis. At least it'd be fun. At least he'll give you some good quotes. At least we'll get some laughs out of it, eat a couple W's. 888-808-1019. All right, thanks for holding, y'all. I wanted to get my NFL and quarterback carousel takes across. Justin is in Floral Park. Justin, you're on the Fan. I'm off. Yeah, I'm
I love the starting.
I'm with it. And I saw you guys got LaVisca Chenault. Yeah, hell yeah. Shout out to my guys up there. I did a podcast called Do Champions. The name Do Champions is because the Bills are long overdue to be champions. Shout out to my guy Brady. I played football with at Monmouth University. He lives out there in Buffalo, lifelong Buffalo Bills fan. They've been trying to bring me into the Mafia all season.
Oh, Chief, I'm bringing you in with the ASS. You didn't tell me what size shirt.
I saw those shirts, man. I'm not wearing those shirts because they're in orange and blue.
No, it's not orange and blue.
Nah, it's Soto with the Mets orange and blue. I can't wear that.
Bro, man, I'm telling you, you'll love it. I told you it. As far as my Yanks go, Chief, listen, I still think they should have made one more move. I get why you're saying they're not going to make a move. But, now that LeMahieu is not, on the squad, I mean, Chief, just get J.D. Martinez here. What is the problem about bringing him here? I mean, he's a veteran. I don't think he's coming back, man. And if he does come back, he's not going to come back till after the All-Star break.
Yeah, they're not going to spend $1 more. When they had the press conference about the beards, it was Chris Kirshner who asked, and Hal immediately said, people need to do their calculations again. We're at 307, 308. They're not going to spend another dollar more, and they're especially not going to spend $1 on a guy that nobody else in baseball wants, like a JD Martinez.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. The Mets, have a different, role down the second half of the season, but he's a veteran.
He's a professional hitter. It doesn't hurt. And you know what I said too, Justin? I've been there for some of those. They never have guys off the bench. They never have guys that can pinch hit. So, like, just to stash him at least, but I don't know. It shouldn't cost that much money. But they won't spend $1 more. They are at their own ceiling for spending.
Yep, and we'll see what happens with the pitching. Listen, I think Warren's going to step up. Schmidt, I hope, is healthy. And I guess, we got to rely on Stroman. Now, one last thing on the Pucks. I mean, the Rangers just are such a bipolar year for the Rangers. But they're in it, Keith. I mean, they're tied now with Columbus. They got a huge weekend. I'm going to the game with my son on Sunday against Edmonton. So they got to, I'm telling you right now, statement right here, they must get at least 3 out of 4 points. If they do not, forget it. Finished.
Urgency, man. I mean, I think they'll get it done. Or I don't know if they'll get it done, but like that was huge in overtime tonight. And they're obviously a different team. We all know which way they're trending. They know, like, Rangers fans are not going to accept anything but them figuring it out here. So they got to get it done.
One last thing. It'd be nice if Lafreniere wake up. The guy has 1 goal in the last 20 games. It's like unbelievable to me. This guy was the number 1 pick. Just shows you what the Devils got, even though he's hurt, compared to what the Rangers get as a number 1 pick.
Yeah, that's forever.
Talent. It's just sad. And this is why they're a pathetic. Listen, I'll root for them until the day I die. But they're a pathetic franchise that's won 4 cups in 100 years. It's sad, Keith.
Still got Trocheck, still got Shesterkin, still got some of those main guys. So, yes, sir. Thanks for the call, Justin. Justin made these ASS after Soto sweepstakes shirts. I remember the night that I said, it's been ass after Soto signed. It's been ass after Soto switched. And he actually made the shirts, but he wrote after Soto sweepstakes. And they have Juan Soto with a donkey attached to him. Looks like the Minotaur. But he's got like a I gotta find it on Twitter and retweet it. It's clown stuff, like in a funny way. It's all clowning and jokes. But I'm like, Justin, I'll never wear that. 888-808-1019. Jules in Oakland, New Jersey, on the Fan. What's up, Julian?
Hey, Keith. Well, it's good to tell the spring training today, but I'm checking out the Baby Bombers today, and there was some fun stuff over there. I just want people to realize that we can't rush these kids because of the holes we have in the roster. That's their problem to figure out. Like, a lot of the timelines when I match up with the Yankees needs, unfortunately, but I think they're going to be good, like the Lombard, Spencer Jones, like Arias. I got to see them all hit. So that was fun.
Yeah, I saw Ryan Garcia was over there today, and I'm glad you're calling in to hit us with that too, because as I was talking about my nightmare of this window closing for the Yankees, another window will open. I just fear that they're going to try to go for it this year and next year, because really it's this year and next year for like Stanton, Cole, Judge, maybe a 3-year window. I just fear that they're going to try and go for it at the deadline where they're going to trade away some of these guys, and I don't want them to do that. But like the fans are going to demand that, we get another starter and we get another bat, and you got to give to get. And the whole league is calling up saying, yeah, George Lombard. Yeah, Spencer Jones.
And it's tough because they're really thin after those two in terms of trade value right now, especially with Chase Hansen on the shelf with Tommy John, which is also really unfortunate because he was the top pitching prospect besides Warren, maybe. And the bats besides Lombard and Jones aren't like fully established. So they're technically, like in terms of value, maybe. I mean, Arias might be a decent ship, but like he's not going to headline anything, I don't think.
Yeah, we don't know. I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine about all the pitching prospects that we traded away, from Drew Thorpe to J.P. Sears, Ken Waldichuk, Luis Medina, Michael King, just over the years, even just this year, right? You get rid of Cody Poteet and Nestor Cortez, which you had to do to get Cody Bellinger and Devin Williams, understood. But like when you're rotation gets thin, you don't have those guys to make starts. The Yankees are going to need 10 guys to make starts at some point this year. It's probably going to run up to 10 different names.
And I'm worried about that 10, how we can get to that 10, because I only see like 5 or 6 right now. Beyond that's like really mysterious. Yeah, some of that covers them on your league, but they're mysterious to me, so that's definitely problematic. And another one that we forgot to mention, Taylor Wisniewski was traded for Efros, who's been hurt every time, unfortunately, and he's going to play with the Astros now, so we'll see what he does. There's been so many. They did a good job of building the pitching depth. The positional depth definitely needs improvement, but it is getting a little bit better.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not worried until it's time to worry. I'm just gonna say, hey, fingers crossed. They did it last year for the first half without Cole. Let's hope Will Warren is ready. I think he is. He's got no choice but to be ready. He was thrown into some tough spots last year. You know, Marcus Stroman talked about, you know, being grounded and being where his feet are. So, I mean, like, he's got to be thrilled to have the opportunity to be in the rotation after all the offseason talk about trading him. Rodon, I want to believe in Rodon, but he hasn't given me enough consistent starts to believe in him. But I want to believe that, hey, man, grow your beard back a little bit. Hey, man, this is your 3rd year here. Like you're a former all-star. You know, you're a guy that we thought was going to be a left-handed bulldog and ace. We need you. He may be our opening day starter. Like, he's got to go out there and be solid, not give up home runs. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Here we go.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Rodon is like now or never. Year 3, like you said, and he has to be the 2 that they signed him to be now. Next 3 has to be big, and I think he'll be great. I'm definitely into Will Warren. I've probably told you that before. I watched him pitch a lot. I think he's pretty good, and the stuff will stay than ever this spring.
Yeah, I think he's ready. I know Wells, like, I remember Wells wanting to start that spring training game. They were going to hold him back, but he said he specifically wanted to catch Will Warren. So what I'm leaning into, Jules, is like, these guys are not about to fold. These guys are talented. These guys will rise. The cream will rise to the top. Like, the best players will stand out. And I think like guys like Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, Max Fried, Devin Williams, they're pros. They're all-stars. They're not going to, like I said this earlier, they're not pouting about Garrett Cole. They never played with Garrett Cole. It's their first year as Yankees. Like, that gives somebody else an opportunity to shine.
Yeah, those 4 are going to be huge. Like, those are going to be like the big 4 off-season additions. We need them all to be great now. Hunter and Goldschmidt have looked good in spring. Hope it translates. They need everything they can get from them, because the lineup is actually more concerning than the rotation with this Stan News and their lack of a third baseman. Still, it's another problem.
Yeah, Yankee fans obviously hearing Oswaldo Cabrera scratch today and immediately getting like, oh no. But like, they don't look at it as a problem, dude. They look at it like, hey, we have Ben Rice, we have Trent Grisham. I'm interested to see these next 2 weeks how it shakes out. I think Dominguez is your left fielder. Grisham is on the bench as a 4th outfielder to go to strictly center field. And it'll be Cabrera at third base, and maybe Peraza makes the club because he's out of options and he can play third, short, second base.
They'll actually carry him, but they need to. So let's hope that happens.
Yeah, and then, I mean, Ben Rice has been catching, but, like, he's not really going to be, like, JC Escar, I would believe, is a backup catcher.
Yeah, hoping that one comes through. I think it will, though. I think he is the backup also.
So here we go, man. It is what it is. Aaron Judge is still on this team, you know. Fingers crossed for Volpe. I know Jazz loves to talk. There's a quote that I'm going to pull from Jazz in a minute. Like, Jazz has to be great this year. Jazz has to play well this year. So they have guys. They just got to get it done.
Yeah, that's true. It's still a bunch of talent. I think Chisholm's going to be a huge X factor. The way he can steal bases is something we haven't seen from a Yankee in a while for a full season. His health, he's got to hold up. He's definitely had some injuries as well, so he needs to play at least 140 games with the way this team is built.
Yeah, 140 games. We're 2 weeks away from 162. Thanks for the call, Jules. 888-808-1019. Now we got some football calls coming in. I do got to go to a break in 2 minutes, so I won't take another call. So stay on hold if you're on hold and you're just getting on. There was a quote from Jazz as I'm still reading through this Evil Empire article of, like, are the Yankees still the Evil Empire or are they not? That's another thing too. Shout out to Moose. I love Moose. Got respect for Moose. We have ties to, you know, both being at MTV. He interned years ago. I worked there. When I was in the MLB fan cave, Moose was like the WFAN representative that came to the fan cave. I still have this keychain on my keys, showing people in the live chat. I still have this WFAN keychain on my keys that have been on my keys for now 11 years since I met Moose. But I was listening to Moose today talking about they haven't won a World Series since 2009. Moose, they were just in the last World Series, bro. And then when I was on with Dave Sims, or when I had Dave Sims on my show, when I mentioned they lost the World Series, Dave stopped me in my tracks. He stopped me dead in my tracks to say, hey, don't minimize that. You know how hard it is to make it to the World Series? Dave Sims, coming from Seattle, Mariners fans, they don't understand why we would minimize losing the World Series. They'd love to make it to a World Series and lose. 888-808-1019. When we come back, I'll read more from this article. They interviewed Jazz. I think I read the excerpts from like Alex Cora, Kevin Cash, another executive. They have some interviews with the players, and Jazz is one who pissed me off last year. But I like Jazz. I like the swag. I like the moxie, the energy, and all that. It's the talk that I don't like. Jazz pissed me off last year because he kept saying, 28, baby, we're going to World Series. We're going to win it. I'm like, bro, you just got here. You can't do that. You can't speak it into existence, and you got to play. Well, Jazz had more to say in this Athletic article. So when we come back, I'll read that. We'll take your calls. NFL calls coming in on the Giants, on Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Joe Flacco, Jameis Winston, Keith McPherson on the Fan. We'll be right back. Yo, what's up, please? Yeah, I didn't get around to it today. What channel was it on? That was the first thing I was like, I couldn't find it on my Fubo account. I'm like, what channel they have this on? I almost thought about going to the game today. It was just too early. It was at 12. Couldn't swing it. The universe wants Rodgers in Minnesota. Let it be. Let it be. I'm down for it. Russ won't last half a season behind the Giants line. He'll set an NFL record for sacks, guaranteed. Yeah, holding on the ball too long. Holding on the ball too long. But, you know, happy wife, happy life. If his wife wants to come to NYC and bring the kids to NY, like, they're coming to NYC, bro. They coming to NYC, bro. See you later tonight. UConn 73, Villanova 56. So that sets up. Let me go. It's Marquette versus St. John's, and UConn versus Creighton. I may be incorrect on that. It says TBD here. Okay, let me get this Jazz quote. Let's see. Clearly, the Yankees have to be excited about this, right? If they're just one of the guys now, the pressure is off. That would seem liberating. I started with Yankees manager Aaron Boone. It quickly became apparent that he, too, had not gotten this life-changing news bulletin. I don't know, Boone said. I always think people want to beat us, and we usually get everyone's best. I don't think anything's changed. We've got a ton of stars, and I feel like people are always gunning for us. You can decide who the Empire is or not. Have you heard that the Yankees are not the shortstop Anthony Volpe? So don't we need to hear from someone who hasn't spent most of his life and career? Okay, let's see. I couldn't even get my entire question out before Chisholm shot down the whole premise, saying the Yankees have always been the evil empire. That's a strange thing. I don't think the Yankees are a normal empire. I don't think our owner should say the Yankees are just a normal team, you know? Yeah, we'll start there. Okay, I have too many tabs open. I was looking at injuries. Gunnar Henderson is out. Rafael Devers is day to day, and now he says he will he'll DH. Carlos, what up, yo? Chat, what up, yo? Good morning, wherever you're watching from. Appreciate you. That means you either are following me on Twitter, which most of the people watching are, or subscribe to the McPherson Brand YouTube channel, which some of you are as well. I have 0 people watching on Facebook, so I'm about to just probably dead that. Actually, I'll leave it. I don't know. Maybe one of my cousins somewhere will pop on at 1 a.m. Let's see the other numbers. Twitch, starting to build the Twitch up. Got to get bigger on Twitch. That's where all these streamers are. And yeah, I'm gonna figure out a workaround so that I don't have to manually hit the audio, so I can feed the audio into here. I just think I need a device to do that. Oh, let me see, Gabe. You already working? I'm not trying to defend Alan Cashman because they never go all in. You know that. They're gonna sell you on Aaron Hicks. Oh, Aaron Hicks had a good offseason. He's ready. Like, come on. They're gonna sell you on DJ LeMahieu. Oh, third base is gonna be like, come on. It is like they don't ever go all the way in. They go just about enough where you're like, okay, we got some good players, we got some talent, but then like, you know, there's this little hole, and then they mess up with their own allocation of funds. DJ LeMahieu's making too much money. You have 2 players in Cole and Stan making over $30 million that can't play. Why don't they ever go all in? Because they have a self-imposed ceiling right now. They always go just up to it. They won't go all the way into the deep end. They put their toe in the water. We're in the water, but we're not going to go all the way in. All right, Gabe. Well done. We'll post that in a minute. Gabe, you killing it, Brody. You killing it, bro. You higher, bro. We're going to have some more conversations, bro. You with me, bro. You want to go to Legends? You with me, Brody. All right. California knows how to party. They're still partying on our graves. Keith McPherson on the Fan, 888-808-1019. It was Dodgers fans, you know. Like on my TikTok or maybe my Instagram, I have a video that just went crazy from going into the Yankees team store when they released all the World Series merch. And I kid you not, like even to today, I'll get like a notification from somebody like, you lost the World Series. Why would you buy all this World Series merch before you won it? Oh, it's a Dodgers World Series. My bad, yo. I don't know. I've never been to a World Series. I've been waiting 15 years to get back to one. So before the games even started, I copped some World Series stuff. Like, give me a break. Anyway, this article is a great article, man, in The Athletic. And we're going to read some more from this and from the article that Brendan Cuddy wrote. Man, it's worth the $4.99 that I pay them for The Athletic. I don't pay for Newsday. I don't pay for a New York Post. But I pay for The Athletic because it's got all the teams, all the sports, and all these writers. So I said Jazz, right? You know, Jazz pissed me off last year with the way he was talking about, we're winning the World Series. I'm like, yo, you're a Marlin. Yeah, we're getting 28, baby. They're not going to stop us, World Series. I'm like, don't do that, bro. The Dodgers exist. So they asked Jazz about this whole evil empire thing. And Jazz, it says, you know, before I could even get the question out, Chisholm shot down the whole premise saying the Yankees have always been the evil empire. He goes on to say, that's a strange thing. I don't think the Yankees are a normal empire. And I don't think our owners should say the Yankees are just a normal team, you know? Did Jazz just hand out unsolicited advice to his owner? I think he did, but he was just getting rolling. Jazz goes on to say, I mean, we're still the Yankees. We still have the history. So I would rather have the mindset of thinking that we're still the evil empire, even if we're not. I still love that mindset because that means that we're still on top of everybody. I like being at the top. Why wouldn't I want to be at the top? Was this a spot where I should have jumped in and pointed out that technically the Dodgers are on top, or that the Dodgers had beaten the Yankees in the last World Series? I chose not to provide any more helpful perspective. 888-808-1019. And then as you scroll, the next thing is this picture of wherever they were watching the World Series in Japan, Tokyo. Dodgers fans cheer on the team from Tokyo during the World Series. I remember those live cuts, and you just see how, like, it's just, I don't know. We got to get the season going just to get away from last year's World Series. Shappy is in Bayside, New York on the Fan. What's up, man?
He had a chance to opt out of the contract at the free agency market. He had a chance. The Yankees had a chance to decline that by picking up the option, so basically what Garrett Cole did is he did opt out of the contract, which made him a free agent. The Yankees weren't comfortable picking up the option, so basically they allowed him to opt back in. So this is my question. I understand they had a wonderful relationship and they had, they were on good terms. The Yankees wanted him back. He wanted to come back, but he was, he did want that $36 million option picked up, and he took the Yankees to task on it, and then when it didn't work out, they allowed him to opt back in. My question for you is, I know it's, with Cole going down now. My question for you is, why would the Yankees, and I know with the Players Association, this would be a problem. They would, blah, blah, blah. Why did the Yankees put Cole through a full physical once he opted back in and he was a free agent? He's no longer under contract with the Yankees. They allowed him to opt back in. My question to you is, why didn't he go through a full physical?
Shappy, I think you fell asleep when you called the other night, and they played that on the morning show. I don't know if you caught that. He just hung up. I don't care to do this hindsight 2020 Garrett Cole stuff. Why didn't the Yankees do this? Why didn't the Yankees do that? First off, this is Garrett Cole. This is a guy that's always available. This is a guy that they don't need to do a full physical on. They know his elbow had an issue because of what we went through the past season, what we went through last spring training in the first half. They don't need to do a full physical, and a full physical is not going to include an MRI. Like, so I mean, I've had this conversation. The Yankees, like, the Yankees respect Garrett Cole as a Cy Young winning ace, a leader of the team that they can rely on in October, who everybody on that team respects. And you know what Cole said? Yeah, we opted out because that's how the contract was set up. And I think Boris was the one on that. And Cole's like, no, I'm good. I got a nice house up here, and I'm a Yankee fan today, tomorrow, forever. My kids, my wife, we're all straight. We're all good. We don't want to test free agency. We don't want to play anywhere else. This is where we want to be. We're trying to get back to the World Series. Well, he made, I think, 2 starts in spring trying to get back to the World Series and felt his elbow, and that was it. But, like, hindsight is 2020. You guys, like, you guys love to act like there's conspiracy theories going on. Is it X-Files or CSI or something? Oh, wow. Garrett Cole, why didn't – it's simple, bro. That contract was made in 2019. And when we got here to 2025, they opted out. And I think the Yankees could have avoided it by adding more money, maybe $10 million to it. And the Yankees said, no, we're not adding that much more money to it. So really, the Yankees check Cole. Like, if you want to go test free agency, go test free agency. We know you don't. And we're good with where we're at with this current deal, paying $36 million a year. And Cole said, I'm good with that as well. And he didn't say that because he was like, hey, I'm gonna get them. My elbow is gonna hurt in a few months. Like, it's not that deep. 888-808-1019. And yeah, Shappy was who called. And I remember every call. Like, I remember every call, especially like when it's, something like that. Shappy called a couple nights ago, I think Tuesday night, and he fell asleep. He was snoring on the phone. And then I'm riding in the car Wednesday morning on my way to Torah Academy of Bergen County. I never hear the morning show. I'm always asleep. I sleep till 10 a.m. I mean, I sleep till 7. And then if it sounds like my wife is wrestling with my son to the point where I got to go in and restrain him and help her out, I get up. But that's like 2 or 3 mornings a week. Most mornings she can handle it and she's got it. And I'll just put the pillow over my head and sleep till 10. But this morning I was up because those good folks over at TABC wanted me to come speak to the 9th and 10th graders. So I'm riding in the car and I hear CeeLo cut. He cut that call. And it's funny because I was talking about having Aaron Rodgers fatigue, right? I was talking about how I don't want him to come to the Giants. I'm like, please go to the Steelers. Let Andrew Filipponi have to talk about him all day. And the way CeeLo queued it up, he was like, well, while Keith is having Aaron Rodgers fatigue, one of his callers was suffering from just regular fatigue. And then I think I said something like unlistenable. I don't know. It made for a funny moment. It made for a good moment on the morning show. 888-808-1019. Bruce is in Flushing next up on the Fan. What's up, Bruce?
Hey, Keith. A couple of Yankee points and a couple of Giant points. In regard to your last phone call, I read an article where Brian Cashman said they did an MRI after the World Series and his elbow was fine.
So there you go. We don't need to do a full physical on you in February if we did one on you in November.
Yeah. Couple of Yankee points. First, on Dave Sims, you are too young to remember this or even know this, but do you realize that Dave Sims had a show 5 hours every night?
So he told me. Dave Sims was one of the first people to reach out, and I had been following him. He DM'd me and he told me this was like 86, 87, 80, like this is before I was alive. But obviously, black man to black man, he was just kind of giving me like a pat on the back, like, congratulations, do your thing. I had a similar show back in the late 80s before you were even alive.
And I was one of his regular callers. And we go back a long ways. We once did a roast of Art Rush Jr. Many years ago.
That's great. See how you're calling into my show. So
second thing, do you think the Yankees will admit their mistake and put Dominguez in center, or they could be stubborn and keep them in left field?
You said make the mistake and put them in center?
Would they admit?
Admit their mistake? No. I think they would have tried it because, like, why wouldn't you try it in spring training? But who knows? We've seen them go back on their word and do like Clay Holmes is our closer. We got faith in Clay. Clay Holmes is our closer. No, we're sticking with Clay Holmes. And then they had to make Luke Weaver the closer. We've seen them in the season adjust. I guess if he's that bad, and I've said it, Yankee Stadium, the people that sit in the bleachers in left field, it's a jungle over there. Like, they'll wear you out. And if he's having a hard time, they are not going to be kind. So if they absolutely have to, maybe they make an adjustment because Bellinger can play left. But I think they prioritize the defense up the middle, as everybody in baseball does, where they want Bellinger in center. And then when Grisham comes in, Grisham plays center field. I don't know. It just is what it is. They're hoping that less balls are hit to left field and that Dominguez picks it up one. But, like, I mean, we just saw a couple days ago. Now, it wasn't a ball hitting the gap in left center. It was a ball that dropped in fair territory to his right. He wasn't lined up close enough to it, and he also wasn't running fast enough to get to it. So it's a thing.
At some point, Dominguez is going to box a few fly balls in regular season games, and they will make the switch. Now, to the Giants. I agree with you, and I think I've said this before. I would have fired everybody and not bring them back. And you see why. You see the desperation in the general manager and the coach, especially the general manager, what he's going through is Rodgers nonsense. I mean, the guy is supposedly your general manager, and he does a bad job evaluating talent. Look at the offensive linemen he signed in this free agency. None of them really is that good. If you look at the last guy I signed, the ex-Seattle offensive lineman, his passing grade was 45%. I mean, just to sign an offensive lineman, say you sign, you have depth, is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the Rodgers thing is a fiasco. Can you imagine if he tried to pull this garbage when Bill Parcells was the coach?
No, different time.
this doesn't sign with Giants, it's going to be a fiasco. He's not going to survive with this offensive line. It'll take 3 or 4 games, maybe less, and he's going to go out with an injury. As a long-term Giant fan, I'm just so upset that they're going through this process. He's not good. I'm not crazy about Flacco either. If I have to do somebody, I'll do Russell Wilson and then try to get a quarterback in the draft. If not the top guys, then Jason Dart. Well, now tell me about this kid. I saw Louis Riddick on ESPN the other day, who raves about this quarterback.
Tyler Shuck.
Yeah. Hey, have you seen him play? And do you think he's as good as Riddick says? Riddick says he's a steal of the draft.
Yeah, I've been looking up his stuff. I don't remember seeing him play. I might have seen him play for a few drives or a quarter at some point this past year, but I've been looking up his stuff. What they like about him is his arm strength. He throws a good ball. What they also like about him is he's old. I think he's 25 right now. I think he's turning 26. He's got the prototypical size, and he's a journeyman in college. I think he played at 3 different schools. I know Louisville and Oregon and maybe somewhere else in between, where they look at this kid as like, if he lands in the right spot with the right, like he's a project. I don't know how high he's going to go in the draft, but there are some people that are like, his stuff translates to the NFL, that if he lands with the right coach, the right coordinator, he might be a decent quarterback in the NFL in a couple of years. Oh, Texas Tech. He went from Oregon to Texas Tech to Louisville. And he's age 25 right now. He'll be turning 26 this next season in September.
That's option. If they can get the top quarterback,
Kyle McCord.
Ward or Sanders, to me, the best option would be Jason Dawson from Mississippi, because Eli likes him. I know this is like David Jones, so was to go by that. But a lot of people like him. It makes more sense to draft him late in the first round or early second.
I was just about to say that number 3 pick is too high, but if they are able to trade back into the first round from 34, they're probably going to have to get in the top 25 picks, because he's a name that's rising, where like if you let him fall, like I think he's going to get grabbed by somebody, or somebody else is going to have the thought to trade up and get him. Thanks for the call, Bruce. Not to correct you, but this guy does have one of the best quarterback names maybe ever. Jackson Dart. Jackson spelled with an X. My son's name is Jackson. We never even thought about the X. It's too provocative. I don't know. It's too just like risque. I can't have an X in the baby's name. I just start to think of X-rated. I don't know. That's a conversation my wife and I had. Jackson just spelled like Jackson. Reggie Jackson, Michael Jackson, 888-808-1019. I think that Jackson Dart could be Will Levis. I think he also could be Anthony Richardson. What I mean by that is like Anthony Richardson was all hype, way overdrafted. What did he go 4 overall or something like that? He shouldn't have been drafted that high. Will Levis fell, and we all watched his girlfriend while he dropped in the draft, and then she dropped him. And she's still popping up on my Instagram Explore page. I'm like, I'm not following her, but I know exactly who she is. Look at this in the mock draft. Going to tankathon.com at 34 overall, they have the Giants drafting Luther Burden III out of Missouri. But they also have Shedeur Sanders going to the Giants at 3. Shedeur Sanders, you guys, if you're Giants fans, you should tap into his podcast, Too Legendary, and follow him on Instagram. I've been, and he kind of gives you info about like today, and shout out to Dre, because I saw Dre tag me in the video, and Dre is a Giants fan saying that he wants Shedeur. Shedeur is like, okay, here's what they were asking me at the combine. Like, he gave it a week to cool off, right? Last week was all, oh, this guy's a brash, cocky, or whatever. And he's like, okay, well, the most asked questions, everybody asked me about not being coached by my dad, and that's a main thing, right? Coach's son, and not even just anybody's coach's son. Like a lot of these, like Bo Nix is a coach's son, but this is Deion's son. And his response to that is, I knew the day was going to come. So did my dad. Like, yeah, he was able to pull off coaching me in high school, and at Jackson State and even Colorado, but we knew he wasn't going to be coaching me in the league in the NFL. And now, he's got his whole job out there. And also, if you follow Dion, like Dion's got Denzel Washington coming in via Zoom and talking to his team. And then, the other question that he said teams had for them was about like, the experience that he had in college and what are we gonna get from you from your college experience coming into the NFL? What are we gonna get from you? And Shador has been right about this. He talked about going from nothing to something. He talked about changing cultures. He's talked about, okay, if you're drafting high and you're drafting me, these are teams that have been losing. These are teams that are drafting high because they lost games and they're trying to win. I've done that over and over. I did that at Jackson State. I did that at Colorado. And when you go back and look, Jackson State was a doormat. Colorado was a doormat. Him at quarterback brought them both to relevancy. Now, obviously not alone. It's football. It's 11 on 11, and you need everybody to pull the same rope. But like the quarterback has the ball the most. The quarterback is the face of the franchise team. He's making all the throws. He's calling the plays. So much is riding on his shoulders. He did it at Jackson State. He did it at Colorado, and he believes he's going to do it in the NFL with whatever team that drafts him. I'm starting to go back to the thought with the Giants, especially as they're potentially going to miss out on, Matthew Stafford, miss out on Aaron Rodgers. If they're going to give up a first and a third and next year's first to go get Cam Ward, is he that much better than Shador Sanders? The answer is no. It is not worth giving up all of that to get a guy that might not be a better NFL quarterback than Shador Sanders. Shador Sanders just has a hard route because of his dad, because of his last name. 888-808-1019. And Aaron Rodgers, hitching your wagon to Aaron Rodgers is not as good as it seems. The Jets fans will tell you, I don't know. I keep going back to this. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji moved on from Aaron Rodgers because they watched the film. Simple as that. Tony's in Montreal on the Fan. You got it quickly, Tony. Oh, wait, we got to hold you, Tony. Sorry, man. I thought I could get you in, but we got a couple spots, couple breaks. I queued you up for Aaron Rodgers. Let's take this break. I'm running out of time like I said I would be. 1 hour left. Tony, we're talking Aaron Rodgers right after this. Let's see. Where did you get that blue Yankees fitted you wore the other day? Lids, I think. I don't know, Lids, but it was one of them type of World Series hats, and I don't know. I can't really call it. Let's see. All right, Gabe, I'm trying to post what you sent right now, yo.
Something I didn't see. Okay.
Bro, I don't know. They always have some type of something going on. I have no idea. That's none of my business. This says intellectual bankrupt versus the fat moron. This was Sal versus Sean's Jeopardy. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. There's nothing to do with me.
Good morning at 1 o'clock. I'm Marco Belletti, and this report is brought to you by Police Officers Right to Sue.com. Hard to keep up if the Giants are on plan B, C, D, further down the list, but Joe Flacco was in the building on Thursday. 40-year-old could be an option with Russell Wilson scheduled to fly in today. Apparently, Aaron Rodgers still taking long walks alone on the beach, but none of that scared off Darius Slayton as he re-upped with the team for 3 years. Feeling good about the plan. Meanwhile, for the Rangers, looking for a hero in overtime. Three-two over the Wild. Sam Rosenthal, MSG, 2016. Devils goal, a couple of assists for Jesper Bratt to put them into 3-2. Mets lost Jeff McNeil with an oblique strain. Won't be there for opening day. He's hopefully back by mid-April. Big East, St. John's Rock Butler, 78-57. UConn rolled Villanova, 73-56. They outscored by 22 in the second half. Marquette, 89-87. 85-81. Bulls lay down 116-110 thanks to 31 from Kobe White. 40 degrees, cloudy skies, Central Park, and it's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
All right, yo. Uh-huh. Quick and easy. A little bit after 1 a.m. on the Fan in New York came to 2 a.m. said this was a quick show. So call 888-808-1019 if you'd like to get a word. I'll be out here in 15 minutes. Opened up talking about no mas, no more spring training. We got 2 more weeks to opening day. Jeff McNeil is out 3 to 4 weeks. And on both sides of town, we're missing players. And all that hype and excitement you have when the Super Bowl ends and you turn the page to baseball, pitchers and catchers reporting. Yeah, well, baseball activities start and guys end up getting hurt. And now you're relying on backups. And yeah, we're still excited for the season, but you'd be more excited if you had your full complement of guys. 888-808-1019. I started leaning into the Yankees and all the talk about the Yankees being hurt and it being over and they're not the evil empire anymore. I started reading from the article in The Athletic by Jason Stark. It's good. It's good. Go read the whole thing. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but I gave you a couple excerpts from that. And then I started talking to Aaron Rodgers, of course, and I listed the 3 teams for Aaron Rodgers, and I listed the 3 teams, maybe 4 for Russell Wilson as we try to see, where these guys land. And, we heard that Russell Wilson met with the Browns and Joe Flacco was talking to the Giants. And Aaron Rodgers can take all the time he wants. Aaron Rodgers can walk the beach all day, every day. It's a huge decision for the guy. Does he want to get beat up another year? Does he have it? Does he want to go to Pittsburgh? Does he want to go to Minnesota? Does he want to stay in New Jersey, playing MetLife outside? for a team that, I think it was Bruce was talking about the offensive line signings of the New York Giants, Stone Forsythe, James Hudson III, who looks like T-Pain. If you go to my Twitter, I retweeted T-Pain chiming in. And T-Pain quote tweeted the tweet and said, "I'm finna turn this organization around." But the Giants have to sign that much offensive line depth because they lead the league in different offensive line configurations every year. Chris Board, that's a linebacker. Let me see who else is in this free agency tracker that's in the offensive line. There was one more guy I think that they signed. I think it was a guy that they signed a guy from the Browns. I don't know. It doesn't matter. These are depth signings. They're not bad signings, but like I said, you got to sign these guys because your offensive line gets hurt every single year, and you need guys that are going to be serviceable backups that you can plug in, and it doesn't have so much of a drop off, so that you're not signing guys off of practice squads in the middle of the season. But yeah, is that what Aaron Rodgers wants to do? Does Aaron Rodgers want to play behind 10 different offensive lines, 10 different combinations of offensive linemen? I don't know. Maybe he does. Just to stick it to Woody Johnson. There's no sticking it to Woody Johnson. He already stuck it to Woody Johnson. He stuck it to Woody Johnson in the last 2 years. He got hurt 4 plays in. He won 5 games the next season. Like, he stuck it to Woody Johnson. And there's no guarantee that playing with the Giants is gonna get Woody Johnson back. Like, he goes and wins 4 games with the Giants. It's like, what's Woody gonna be like? Oh, you got me there. Tony's in Montreal on the Fan. You're in there, Tony.
Keith, I think like I'd rather have you at quarterback right now because I'm so tired of listening about this guy Aaron Rodgers, who loves himself, who's a podcaster, a film director. He's
scientist, doctor.
He walks on water. He tells lies about taking the COVID vaccine.
Yeah, he's immunized.
Look, Keith, I had him up there. Like seriously, like. Truck is a better quarterback than him right now. I'm going to put my money on Truck. I just want to mention this guy, Joey Votto. When he was coming to a career end, you know what he said? He said, Joey, why didn't you push to get that extra at bat? He said, my time is up. My time is up. The young guys have to have their chance and I had my chance. Mr. Rogers, if you're listening, go home, man. You weren't like when Brett Favre was around. Brett Favre didn't like you. And I can guarantee if you played on the white football team, and I know in our time, when there was a guy on the team and they didn't like him in hockey, let me tell you something, practices were pretty rough and sometimes fights broke out. And we settled that garbage right away on a team. But now we have team economy. And guys like you that play and you understand what I'm talking about. And when I'm evaluating players, I'm looking tonight, I'm evaluating players from a midget, AAA in Laval. 16, 17, and all the things that you can there. And I'm looking down at what probably I'm interested in, not because they don't have that it factor. And the problem is without a talent like Robbie, but you ruin it with all these things that the door, right? They're going to this, their status with this. But imagine if Aaron Rodgers was a black dude, right?
It would never have.
And so white dude would have to do. And then letting it go. But I'm an Italian dude from Montreal, and I don't like this dude. You know what I'm saying?
Understood.
Superstar athlete like Shador. I don't care if he's yellow, black, white, purple, he's from
gotta produce. Yeah, gotta play and win and make the throws. Great call, Tony. Like Aaron Rodgers could never be a black quarterback doing all this. He wouldn't have gotten this far. And then Ryan Clark goes on ESPN and says the facts about Deion's kid and his treatment because we've never seen this. We've never seen a rich, famous black quarterback, son of a Hall of Famer, be a top 5 prospect, know it, and just not let anybody just talk to him anyway, ask him any questions, or be in control. I'd rather have Shador right now than Aaron Rodgers. Oh, you're crazy, Keith. Aaron Rodgers threw 20. Bro, it's done. It's over. It's over. I'd rather have a young guy look at the Jets. And as many people want to talk about, they chose Justin Fields over Aaron Rodgers. Hell yeah. 1 of 53. He can run. And for another person that says he can't throw, you can't throw a football. Justin Fields can throw the football. You can't throw a football. Justin Fields can throw. I'm so tired of hearing Justin Fields can't throw. I can't wait till he comes here and shuts people up and has games where he throws the ball to Garrett Wilson and Stone Smart. Yup, you guys see Stone Smart? I know a lot of Jets fans were saying that they should draft Tyler Warren in the first round, but Stone Smart is here now. If you play fantasy, maybe you picked up Stone Smart, I don't know, week 13 or something. He's a big body tight end. He's athletic, coming over from the Chargers. I like that move. I think the Jets are doing the little things right now that, like, they're not sexy right now. They're not locks right now, but they're building a team. They're building a team that's going to buy into what their head coach is selling. And when they mimic that head coach, when they take on his personality, they're going to look different. Are they going to win 10 games? I don't know. Are they going to be able to compete in a division? I don't know. Justin Fields, I think, is the right move over Aaron Rodgers. Justin Fields isn't coming in here with all the extra stuff. Justin Fields is coming in here to prove himself, right? In a third spot, just like Baker Mayfield bounced around, Sam Darnold bounced around, Geno Smith bounced around. These guys were written off and didn't write back. Justin Fields was written off. I saw the video that the Jets put out. I'm like, this kid has the opportunity to come here and be a star for real, running the ball, throwing the ball. And in this NFL, you don't have to throw the ball for 300 yards. Look at Jalen Hurts. You don't have to throw for 300 yards every game. So for everybody saying that Justin Fields can't throw, go watch. He can throw the ball. He might not have the completion percentage that you would like. He might have missed some throws, but it's hard to do. It's hard as hell to do. Some of y'all can't throw the football on air with nobody rushing you, without a defense to read. So tired of hearing Justin Fields can't throw the ball. It's ridiculous. So Justin Fields is the new Jets quarterback, and he's not competing with Tyrod Taylor. He's the guy. They bring in Brandon Stevens, Andre Sisco, Rashad Weaver, Josh Myers, a former Packer, no ties to Aaron Rodgers, and Chukwuma Okafor. So just a couple little moves, 2 offensive linemen, an edge rusher, a corner, a safety. Jamian Sherwood is back. Isaiah Oliver back. Jamin Davis. And then they get rid of subtraction. Sometimes you can have addition by subtraction. Aaron Rodgers. I think it's addition by subtraction. And as Tony was going in on Aaron Rodgers and talking about like teammates that you don't like, I don't think there are any teammates that don't like Aaron Rodgers. I haven't heard that. Aaron Rodgers is the type, he'll give you his jet. Aaron Rodgers is the type, he's probably buying gifts. Aaron Rodgers is the type, they all grew up watching Aaron Rodgers, admire Aaron Rodgers, but like enough is enough. And if you're a new GM and a new head coach looking to command the team and the building and start over, you can't have Aaron Rodgers in the building. He's not worth it. What he brings is not worth it. Now, for the Giants, yeah, it's worth it, I guess. You're going to lose anyway. For the Giants, yeah. Aaron Rodgers bringing that much attention to the Giants. You're going to sell tickets at least out of the gate. You'll probably get some primetime games. But ultimately, like as I was joking, like, what is Aaron Rodgers going to do for the Giants to stick it to Woody Johnson? Behind that offensive line, Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are probably cooked behind the Giants' offensive line. It'll be Chuck and Duck for Rodgers. It'll just be Russell Wilson running in circles, taking sacks. 888-808-1019. Back to the baseball, with the Yankees and Mets. I can't wait for the season to get started. I was saying, the Mets and the Yankees have injuries, but there's injuries everywhere. Like I saw, Rafael Devers is day-to-day. And then also I saw today that Rafael Devers spoke with reporters, and he's now open to being the Red Sox DH after being adamant that third base was his position. He says, I'm good to do whatever they want me to do. I guess Alex Cora gave him a stern talking to. Like how you guys want Boone to give all the Yankees a stern talking to behind closed doors. Alex Cora must have straightened him out. But yeah, I was pulling up like an injury tracker. And, just in the AL East, Gunnar Henderson is out. We can go back to the Red Sox. Lucas Giolito is out. Devers is day-to-day. He's not out. Trevor Story is day-to-day. Masataka Yoshida is out. Cutter Crawford is out. Brian Bayo is out. So, the almighty Red Sox, as the hype builds for this Red Sox team, that you look out, the Red Sox are winning the division. The Red Sox, they won the offseason. They're going to be so tough. Okay, let's see. Let's see before we crown them. I'm not crowning anybody yet. We don't know what is going to happen this year. Maybe Ellie De La Cruz and the Cincinnati Reds get hot. Maybe it's their year. Maybe the Detroit Tigers, who nobody had making the postseason last year, right? When the Yankees lost to them at the midway point of the season in early August, the Little League Classic, we were like, they lost to the Tigers. The Tigers just, they traded Gio Urshela. They got Javi Baez out of the way. Like, they just called up Trey Sweeney. Well, what'd they do? They got super hot, got to the dance, knocked off the Astros. You can't predict baseball. Nobody knows how it's going to go. So, yes, the Mets are banged up. The Yankees are banged up. But you know what? It's about who's healthy and playing their best baseball in October. And that's what? 7 months from now? 888-808-1019. Carlos is in Queens on the Fan.
Hey, what's up, Keith? I'm one of your adamant listeners. We go back a lot of shows now. But what I want to know is, can I get the KM, the LGM? You hear me? Mets fan, is it possible I can hear this? Your season's looking a little adamant. I can never wish no ill will or no injuries. But just in case the Yankees get eliminated, is there a way we can get the KM to LGM? Let's go, Keith.
Last year I had the Let's Go Yankee Mets. I got into a little bit of like the Harrison Bader, Luis Severino, Carlos Mendoza coming over, the LGYM. I was putting out a lot of LGYM, Let's Go Yankee Mets. It's not so much Let's Go Yankee Mets. I know Soto was over there, but I don't consider him really a Yankee. I know Clay is over there, but I couldn't wait to see him go. I'll say this. I did have the thought today that, I'm looking forward to the season, because if the Yankees do stumble out of the gate and the Mets are hot and that's the story, I'm looking forward to being the first voice on after the games. And I'm not going to, I'm not so much of a Yankee homer or Yankee shill or Yankee fanboy that I'm going to put the Yankees in front of the Mets. If the Yankees are losing and the Mets are winning and Juan Soto's hitting homers and Lindor's playing how he was playing at the end of the last year, I'm not going to hate. I'm not going to jump in front of that to the victor go to spoils. But I am a Yankee fan. I'm not going to ever root for the Mets. I'm not going to be actively rooting for them to win. If they do come out of the gate and they lose, I am going to be Juan Soto can't win you everything. I don't know about that Griffin Canning start, but it's going to be fun, man. I don't know. I can never go to LGM. I'm never actively rooting for the Mets to win. No.
I'm just waiting for the KM. The LGM. I mean, that's what I'm waiting for. As an adamant listener,
I'm trying to think. I'm when would I actively want to see the Mets win? It would have to be against Red Sox or Orioles or something. When I think y'all swept the Orioles last year, walked them off. I was actively sitting in here rooting for the Mets to beat the Orioles because we needed a little help. We needed them to get backed off. Francisco Alvarez, I think maybe. Who else walked it off? I'm in here watching the games, actively rooting for the Mets.
Well, listen, Keith, it's always a pleasure listening to you, and I'm always gonna be throwing the hat in the ring for you to become a Mets fan. I know it's down inside you. You might not know it's there. It leads to certain things, and you know what? You might get the orange and blue in. You got the blue in you already. You might get the.
No, I'm not even a Knicks fan. I'm not even a Knicks fan, bro. Not an Islanders fan.
You might have it in you, though. But listen, it's a pleasure. I always appreciate you taking my call, man. Have a good one.
Carlos from Queens. Keep on dreaming, buddy. I bleed pinstripes. I'm from the soil. I'm from the Bronx culture. I'm from Jersey, but you understand. My feet have been at Yankee Stadium for years now. From being the Yankee fan in the fan cave where I couldn't go to a game all year, and then I got out of the fan cave, and I'm like, I'm never doing that again. And then getting into the mix with the creatures, and then getting on the fan as a Yankee fan, doing Yankee podcasts, doing Yankee commercials on Yes Network, doing Yankees Magazine on Yes Network, being on MLB Network, where the panel is, shout out to LG, who's beautiful red hair TV woman, and then Xavier Scruggs, who's a former baseball player, and then Hannah Kaiser, who's the reporter, and they threw me in there as like, what's this guy? He's just a Yankee fan on the fan. Oh, good enough. I don't know. I say I don't even know if I would like baseball if I didn't come in through watching the Yankees win and falling in love with the Yankees history and culture and then getting into it. I come from a culture of banana, Mets suck. Banana, Mets suck. Banana, Mets suck. I didn't come up with it. It's just something I was taught in 203. Mets fans really suck. Mets fans really suck. It's just like, it's a cultural thing. I'm of the culture. 888-808-1019. It was Jesse Winker. I'm trying to go back. That's when I was actively rooting for the Mets. I'll root for the Mets, when they're playing against a team that is, close to the Yankees in the standings. Oh, you're opening up against the Astros. There you go, Carlos. There you go, Carlos. Let's go, Mets. There you go. I'll give you an LGM right there. When the Mets face the Houston Astros, I'm rooting for the Mets to sweep them down in Houston. You know what? I put out a tweet today. I think people got it the wrong way, but I don't care. It's Twitter. There's a clip of Jose Altuve playing left field, and he mistimes a jump, and it's like, whoops. But like Jose Altuve is allowed to switch positions, or the Astros are allowed to have Jose Altuve, their Hall of Fame cheating second baseman, all of 5'5". He's allowed to switch positions. He's allowed to learn left field, and he can do it in, anonymity. He can do it in secrecy. He can do it quietly. He can, in spring training, practice for everybody. He can, make mistakes and nobody says anything about it. But then I saw this today and I laughed. And obviously, I just said it's spring training, it's practice. I said, I need the same energy for Jose Altuve. Nah, more than y'all have for Jason Dominguez. Whoops. I saw somebody was like, rare Keith L. That's something that they say on Twitter. And I'm like, I don't even respond anymore. I've finally gotten there. I remember, getting advice from people like, yo, stop responding on Twitter. And I'm just like, why? I respond to everybody. Now I'm just like, whatever. Just block. Just straight up block, mute, or ignore. But my thing with that was like, okay, Dominguez is a rookie trying to play a position that he didn't play. Oh, he's an outfielder though. But yeah, whatever. It's practice. You're gonna make mistakes in practice. Like the Yankees game wasn't viewable yesterday. Good. Shout out to my boy Gabe, because Gabe was talking back and forth with me on Twitter. He's like, I would watch the Yankees field ground balls and take pop-ups if it was televised. The Yankee game wasn't televised. And I'm like, good. We honestly get too much of this glorified practice. We honestly see too much of spring training where it's not good for our health. It's not good for our fandom. It's not good for our brains. It's not good. We draw too many conclusions and jump to too many conclusions off of exhibition. Guys going out there to get a feel. Some guys not going, full tilt. Some guys throwing certain pitches and us not knowing. It's spring training. No mas. I'm ready for it to end, and I haven't even gone down there. I'm going down there. I'm trying to go to the beach. I'm trying to go to the pool. I'm trying to get on a boat. I'm trying to go gamble. I'm trying to go to the mall. I'm going to go to 2 games. But I don't care. I don't care what happens in those games. 888-808-1019. I did say I wanted to play a clip. I got to send it to Fleegs. I think this call will help me queue up the clip that I want to play. Let me go get this clip and send it to Fleegs now. And then maybe when we get off of this phone call, we can play it. Rory is in the Bronx on the Fan. What's up, Rory?
Keith, thanks for taking my call, man. I've been listening to you for a long time. Never had the opportunity to call in.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for everything you do for the Yankees. I know you're not a New York football fan, but I know Dallas is coming to New York twice this year. I was wondering if you'd make your way to MetLife. But, see Justin Fields take on your Cowboys.
Yeah, and I might be wearing green. I might be switching up. I usually go to the Cowboys Giants game, especially now that they've put them in the beginning of the year where it's not so cold. I remember years ago, like I was at the Odell catch game. It was so cold. I was at one game where Dez cooked the Giants years ago. It was so cold. But yeah, my NFL fandom is I'm half Dallas, half free agent right now. I don't know if I'm rocking with them. And I lean gang green. That's my phrase when it comes to the hometown team. I've been to more Jets games than Giants games as far as games when the Dallas Cowboys aren't there. Like I remember going to see Geno Smith play. I remember seeing a random game, forget what it was, like a Monday Night Football game years ago against the Dolphins where it rained. And I sat 18 rows back for like $20. So yeah, I'm in there, man. And if the Jets are what I think they might potentially be, is just a more exciting offense, more competent, like more disciplined, like, an upstart, team with young talent that like might surprise some people. I would love to see them knock off the Dallas Cowboys. I would certainly go there to watch that. I mean, I think what year was it? Robbie Anderson and Sam Darnold had a long touchdown pass against the Dallas Cowboys, beat the Cowboys in MetLife. Shout out to my boy Golan, big Jets fan. I went to Golan's house to watch it. We both could have went to the game, but we were scared. He was scared the Jets were going to lose. I was scared the Cowboys were going to lose. I ended up going to his house to watch it instead of going to the game.
It's a rare occasion. It's definitely be a great game to get to. So what do you think about Justin Fields and the Jets? You think you do think it's going to be an uptick from last year? You think it's young and excited? We're going to run the football. Maybe get some real identity here with a new coaching staff and a new regime.
What I love about it is the unknown. I have no idea what Tanner Engstrand is going to do as offensive coordinator. I have no idea how it's going to look with Breece Hall and Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis and Justin Fields as rushing threats. Like I said, I like that they added Stone Smart. Like the Jets need a tight end. They need a tight end. Stone Smart is a playmaker. He can be explosive. He can be a good little weapon for Justin Fields. And you already know he has rapport with Garrett Wilson, Ohio State boys, they're buddies. Let's see how they draft, man. If they have a masterful draft, there's going to be some buzz about, okay, they've got a young, talented team, and they have the coaching to game plan and scheme and lead them in the right direction. I'm more optimistic than most Jets fans I talk to, but maybe that's because I'm not a Jets fan.
I mean, I'm optimistic as well, and I like the direction they're going in. Last season, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Baltimore Ravens were the two highest rushing teams ever in NFL history. And I think the league is turning back to this run of the football. You see last year, the best teams in the NFL, they all ran the ball well. The Jets last year, they finished 31st out of 32 teams in the NFL. And I really believe that has a major impact on winning football games. Being able to run the football, control the clock.
Of course.
All the other, yeah.
Establish the run. And you had a quarterback that he wanted the ball in his hands, and he couldn't run it. He wanted the ball in his hands. He wasn't trying to hand it off. He was trying to throw it to pad his stats, to make himself look better. Now you've got a quarterback that, hey, we're not asking you to sit in the pocket. We're going to have some quick game for you, like quick throws, 5-10-yard throws. We're going to have some just one read and go. We're going to have some zone read. You and Breece Hall, like they have a chance to have an offense that is mysterious, that we don't know what they're going to do. And if they rep it enough and practice it enough, let's see. I think that they could do something this year. I don't know if they're going to be a playoff team. I don't know if they're going to win, but I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with what you get.
I agree, and I like how the expectations are low. It's never a good thing when Jets make big free agent flashes.
And the contract, bro, this contract for Justin Fields, you're not married to Justin Fields. If it is a disaster, so what? And it ain't going to be a disaster.
I think he's going to rejuvenate his career. I think he's a great young player. I think, he didn't have a fair shot like some young quarterbacks do. He got thrown in early to a terrible organization. And, I like seeing this comeback story. And I hope he pulls it around like Geno, Sam did, or Baker Mayfield. And, maybe hopefully finds his home here in New York. But, Keith, thanks for taking my call. Thanks for everything you do for the Yankees. And, keep killing it here on the Fan.
Thanks for the call, Rory. 888-808-1019. I don't really do anything for the Yankees. I just have done some things that are connected to the Yankees. But, I do understand being a host, being a social media presence. I would never say I'm the voice of the Yankees or voice of Yankees fans, but they hear me. I'm something. I know I have a ton of followers in the Yankee universe, Yankee space. You know, one of my boys said when we lost Soto, and I didn't even think of that. He's like, "We lost Soto, we didn't lose you." I'm like, "What does that mean, bro?" He's like, "Yo, you gotta talk me off the ledge. Like, yo, you gotta do your thing, bro. You gotta get on the fan. You gotta tell, like, you gotta help me out." I'm like, "I got you, bro. I will." 888-808-1019. What if you do lose me? We can't lose the World Series, lose Soto, lose Cole, lose Heel, lose Stanton, John Sterling retired, and Keith McPherson retires. That'd be crazy. Pack it up. When we come back, we'll play the audio of DeMarcus Ware as a Seattle Seahawk talking about his former team, the Dallas Cowboys. And we'll take the rest of your calls, and I'll see what I missed from my notes that we did not hit. This is Keith McPherson on the Fan. KM, the 2 a.m. returns right after this. They're going to sell you on DJ LeMahieu. Oh, third base is going to be like, come on. It is like that. They don't ever go all the way in. They go just about enough. All right, yo. Peace. Okay, so you probably got the DeMarcus Ware audio. That's easy. Okay. So we'll go with the DeMarcus Ware audio clown show that is the Dallas Cowboys. Let's see. There was something I wanted to hear or read. Yes, Stims knows he deserves a chance. He said he had his time in his mind. I'm not coming in to do impersonations or anything like that. He said, I must have done something, right? What made Sims a beloved figure in Seattle will come east with him. See. Every home run is different, he said. That ball that Aaron Judge hit in Cleveland. Sure. Yeah, so I'm going to come back. I'm going to read some of that too. Let me see what else. I talked about Stone Smart. Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. Just waking up in the morning, gotta thank God. All right, we're back. Can't really rock with Ice Cube. Actually, I shot a video with Whistle Sports that'll come out opening day week, the week of opening day, so 2 weeks from now. Shout out to Adam over there, big Mets fan and WFAN listener who pulled me in to do that. And we played this game where you rank team fitteds, team hats, like, you know, the Phillies hat, the Braves hat, the Red Sox hat, the Yankees hat, and the Dodgers hat. When I first saw it, I'm like, oh, it made me think of Ice Cube for some reason. I think because it was a flat brim. I'm like, seeing the Dodgers hat, flat brim, made me think of Ice Cube performing at the World Series. Bow down when you're westward bound. I'm like, we were cooked. We were cooked. Verdugo was bopping his head to it. Verdugo being from Arizona, repping the West. That's why Verdugo won't come back. You guys want to sign Verdugo still? No. Verdugo was out as soon as cameras cut to him and he was bopping his head to Ice Cube during the World Series before the Yankees would go on to get beat. 888-808-1019. So we go from the Mets in the NLCS fail, the Yankees in the World Series fail, football teams that already failed like by that time. Basketball, I did want to give my credit to Mikal Bridges. That celebration went crazy, bro. Like Mikal Bridges, after calling out Tibbs in a way, right? It's like saying he talked to Tibbs, and then Tibbs being like, I didn't say anything. And then them talking and getting to a good place or whatever. But like, if anybody can talk about the minutes being played, he reserves that right. And he wasn't wrong. And you love to see a guy who's under pressure fight through that pressure. Like I can appreciate that with professional athletes. Not have your best performance. I know I said he was dookie juice, but he wasn't the other night, right? Jalen Brunson is down. And on a night where everybody hears about, him questioning the minutes and shoot around or whatever, and he goes out there and in overtime, you need to win that game. As we've talked about this West Coast swing that the Knicks are on with, getting Cat back in LA. They lose in overtime in LA. That's their first overtime loss. That was their sixth overtime loss or a win that they just had, I believe. Against Portland, they beat Sacramento, and they come out and they're shooting the hell out of the ball, and they're playing defense against Sacramento. And I remember talking that night about pivoting, right? How teams got to pivot. And shout out to Mikal Bridges as the team is pivoting without Jalen Brunson. has stepped up, and you see more of his offensive bag in his game, and that's cold-blooded as hell, the way he caught that ball, top of the key, just like straight on, bang, bang, and like his celebration where he puts the fingers out and does the head bob. I'm like, oh, that's hard. That's dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. I'm like, that was hard as hell. So as much as I've hated on Mikal Bridges, former Net, I did watch 2 years of him with the Nets. He is a hooper. He's a good player, and broken clock is right at least 2 times a day. He found his way. I wanted to put some praise on him. If you can put criticism on a guy, you got to put some praise on him. And the Knicks have pivoted. I would love to see them go and beat Draymond and the Warriors next. Speaking of pivoting, the Rangers have had to pivot. I talked about the Yankees having to pivot without Cole, without Stanton, without Heel. I talked about the Knicks having to pivot without Brunson. Well, the Rangers have had to pivot just with a new team after the trade deadline, after all of the moves, and after changing the team and a lot of those guys that were in that locker room not being there anymore. Here's the team. This is the squad. This is the team. And the Rangers, it's right in front of them to push forward and get in the playoffs and maybe make a run this year. Maybe it has to happen differently. Maybe they don't need to win the President's Trophy, right? I said that about the Yankees. Maybe the Yankees don't need to win the AL. Maybe they don't need to be the #1 seed. Maybe they don't need to win the division. Maybe they just get in and they're healthy at the time and they get hot, and anything can happen if you get into the dance. Ross is in Bergen County. Ross is back on the Fan. It's going.
Yeah, talking about kind of sneaking in last second, and you never know. You're kind of through 2 parallels to that. One thing, 2 years ago, everyone thinks that Florida is the big bad Panthers now, but 2 years ago, the first Stanley Cup final run, they did sneak in as the second wild card and obviously knocked down the all-time Bruins, broke that regular season record. Also, I'm thinking, this stretch we got going on, albeit we just broke the 4-game losing streak, and each loss was more, I wouldn't say as deflating as the next, because I don't think it could get worse than the Ottawa loss this season, just how they lost it, the way they lost, how much time was left in the third period. But it kind of reminds me of that August stretch with the Mets. Remember that Diamondback San Diego, 7-game stretch?
Yeah.
It started off with San Diego, or I think Arizona was first, but there was that San Diego game. Diaz came in, gave up the 2-run walk-off bomb to Merrill, and that kind of felt like the dagger on the season. Yet they kind of missed towards the end. Now, the difference is, well, I think, that Mets team was kind of, pieced together going into the year. Obviously, all the anomalies, like Iglesias, Manaea, all the unexpected names. This team just feels like a configuration of pieces that Jury stole throughout the year. Like I just don't think there's enough chemistry with this team. All the guys they brought in at different points in the year, like the Will Corrigan, Dinerho back in Diamonds of the world, where you look at this, right? Obviously Miller kind of headlines that these guys that they just brought in at different points throughout the season. I mean, they're lucky as hell they won tonight. And the schedule doesn't get much easier. They got to, they got absolutely slapped around by Columbus on home ice. Now they got to go out to, nationwide playing in their barn. Then they got Edmonton coming in. I think Toronto. I mean, they probably got one. I think Detroit is the only team that's got a harder schedule.
No quit in New York, man. No quit in New York. They've pivoted. They've added some different players on defense. I know you don't have the faith, but like I was saying to Justin in Floral Park, I'm like, the Rangers as an organization knows that they can't fold, that it's right in front of them, that their fans expect them to get back to the.
This though, you guys lost. You don't need me to tell you lost 86, and somehow your season, once they got more fun, but all of a sudden now you got Mrs. Fields as your version of Griffith.
Yeah, I saw that parallel. I'll take it. We needed anything. Everybody's leaning into it. 3-game win streak. If it takes Mrs. Fields winning 1 race out of 50 something, like whatever, yo.
Oh, I'll say this, Frank was the first one on it again.
Yeah, Frank was right.
It was Mrs. Fields and Hot to Go were the reason your season.
HOT, the Hot to Go song. Frank. Thanks for the call. Yo, Frank the Tank. We don't deserve Frank the Tank. I said, Frank, the only team in common that I have with Frank the Tank is the Devils, but it cracks me up some of the things that he says, some of the things that he comes up with. He's got to chill though. He's always criticizing the Prudential Center food. He's always on something. I would have went to the game tonight, but I was on daddy duty. Had to take care of the baby while my wife went to like mini golf or something with her job. But I got to get back over there to see the Devils. I think the Devils figure it out. Rangers figure it out. So we have something else, man, as we get to, just later into the spring. And so now, daylight savings is passed. Warmer days coming. We will have opening day in 2 weeks. We will have, the NFL draft like, a month from then. So we'll know what type of players are on their way for the Jets and the Giants. I've said, the Jets got to keep going, but I think they've made some moves. If you're looking at the tracker and you're looking at who they've added, the Giants need to have a absolutely masterful draft to really get in the good graces of their fan base again. But we don't know. Nobody knows. That's why we watch. That's why we talk about it. That's why we try to project, predict, and yeah, I know that the Jets move on from Aaron Rodgers. They're going to eat $49 million now, and that's another part of the Rodgers thing, right? Hey, let's just do it now. Let's just do it now. We're starting over. We didn't go after Aaron Rodgers. We didn't bring him in here, and we don't need to be married to him. In theory, Aaron Rodgers gives you a better chance to win, and you know what Aaron Glenn said from the jump? It's about the roster. It's about the roster. We're talking Aaron Rodgers, but it's about the roster. They're in the process of building out a better roster. John is in Brooklyn. What's up, John? You're on the fan.
Yo, what's up, Key? Long time no call, man. How you doing?
Good. I think the last time we spoke, you said I was rapping like the dude from the Family Matters, Carl Winslow's son, Eddie.
Anytime against Sanders, I've got my money on you. You better rap on that he can.
I like his music. Well, not his last song about the girl. The Perfect Timing track I like though. But I'm working on something for you, John. You'll catch it, or maybe you won't. We'll see. Sometime soon.
You do your thing. Keith. Now, about Justin Fields, I agree with you that people say he can't throw the ball. What happened was he couldn't pick the reads up quick. People don't know. Like he couldn't.
Yeah, it's hard to pick up. It's all right. And from my little Pop Warner football experience, it's hard to read a defense when they got defensive ends running after you and defensive tackles coming through with their arms up. It's harder to read.
Yeah, in 2.2 seconds, you got to get rid of that ball. The time has gone even so much. You getting rid of the
Yes, and it's pre-snap, right? The jump from college to NFL when you're at Ohio State and you're playing against Indiana before Kirk Cignetti got there. When you're at Ohio State playing against Indiana, it's easy for you to see if there's one safety, two safeties, if it's cover 0, cover 1, cover 2, whatever. That's different. You get in the NFL, they're disguising coverage. And as soon as you said hut, it's a different coverage. You got to know what to do with the ball. I think that they're going to simplify this offense for him. He's obviously coming in, and they're going to install and teach everybody this offense, and they're going to play to his strengths. That's why I said it's going to be quick game. It's going to be one read. They're not going to ask him to sit in the pocket and read a defense.
The same thing that you hit it on the nail. The same way Jalen Hurts played, that's the same style that he played. And Russell Wilson, too. I think by him being in the locker room with Russell Wilson, it's going to pay off this year.
Yeah, I think just being in the Pittsburgh Steelers building and culture and coming to the Jets, they're pretty opposite. Sixburg versus a place that, Aaron Rodgers coming into, that one Super Bowl trophy looks lonely. There's no lonely Super Bowl trophies in Pittsburgh. I think him seeing how they do things over there and then coming into here, it's going to be better than people are giving it credit for. But I understand Jets fans are hurt. They're jaded. There's been a lot of trauma, a lot of pain.
This is a good pick. Check this out. Right? When you get a quarterback, you start thinking about, can he play in this cold weather? Can he throw in this wind? The guy played 4 years in Chicago. So I'm pretty sure he knows how to play in the cold, the wind, throw the ball. Even though he plays with gloves on his hands, because I've seen him. He throws the ball with gloves. I've seen Justin Fields. That's how he throws the ball when it's cold. He likes to play with a glove in his hand. It don't matter, man. The guy's a good pick. It's a better upgrade than Aaron Rodgers. Is younger. You can use your legs to run. the lead option, fake it to the running back and run it. And let's see what happens. Like you said, the unknown is always the best because you don't know.
Yes, you can be pleasantly surprised with a brand new offense, brand new offensive coordinator. And you know what? The defenses they go up against, at least for the first couple weeks, they're not going to know what's coming either. Thanks for the call, John. 888-808-1019. Fields played 3 seasons in Chicago, 1 season last year, and not the full season. I think the first 6 games with the Steelers. And you know what? I got to get in touch with either what's that kid, Connor Long, or Jets X Factor. Like, there's got to be a Jets fan cooking up the highlights of Justin Fields actually can throw the ball. That would kill on social media. If there's a kid that can just say, caption, Justin Fields can throw the ball. And I'm not even saying to go back. And, like, if you do want to go back, man, there was a game, maybe it's a Thursday night football game, where Justin Fields and DJ Moore lit it up. And I think DJ Moore had 3 touchdowns. I'm like, what do you mean he can't throw the ball? If I'm a Jets fan right now and I'm a video editor, I'm going back and I'm looking for the all 22 footage. I'm going back, I'm looking for the game highlights, whatever it is. And I'm going to have a video that says Justin Fields can throw the ball. And I would just cherry pick the best throws. I would go back and get the best highlights from last year. They didn't win. They didn't start off 4-0. They didn't win those games without being able to throw the ball. I know him and George Pickens were not on the same page, but, like, I mean, it's probably hard to be on the same page with George Pickens. I'm just ready to let the kid become. Give him a chance to succeed. There's so many people. He can't throw the ball. Look at his completion percentage. Let's do that, actually. Justin Fields football reference. And it's skewed. They brought him into Chicago with no offensive line. They brought him into Chicago not having a great offensive coordinator, not having weapons. Now, what'd they do for Caleb Williams? They got him weapons. They still didn't really help him with the offensive line, but they got him weapons. They put weapons around him. He struggled too. I would say the number, but I'm running out of time here. I'm trying to look at the completion percentage for. Okay, so, like, when you go to Football Reference, 65.8% is not great, but it's not terrible. And that's where he was at with Pittsburgh last year. 5 touchdown passes. But don't forget that he also ran the ball in. He's a threat in the red zone. He's a threat in short yardage. And what I was saying before about Jalen Hurts is, like, there are games that the Eagles won, and I'm not saying that Breece Hall is Saquon Barkley. Some people had him actually ranked higher than Saquon Barkley in fantasy and in projections last year. It was Christian McCaffrey as the running back 1 and Breece Hall as running back 2. How did they completely miss Saquon not being 1 or 2? Anyway, if they can get Breece Hall going, Braylon Allen going, Isaiah Davis going, running the ball, there are going to be games that the Jets, with that defense and the core of that defense, in theory, can win without Justin Fields having to throw for 300 yards. You think these guys don't see that? You think these guys aren't planning for that? That, hey, if we run the ball, we kill the clock, we move the sticks, we punch it in. When we get to the red zone, we don't got to throw the ball. Justin Fields can run it in. He only had 1 interception last year in 161 attempts. So that's growth. I don't know. I'm ready to let the kids succeed. I've liked Justin Fields' game since he was on the streaming show QB1. And I got to see him coming out of high school. This kid was looked at as like the next Cam Newton. But he went to Georgia. Jake Fromm was there. You're not beating out Jake Fromm. And then he had to transfer, go to Ohio State. And that's the show. That's it. That's a quick one. So I'll keep a couple in the chamber for tomorrow's show. And tomorrow I'll be on earlier. Tomorrow I'll be on right after Yankees baseball. Oh, Dave Sims. I did want to read the quote from Dave Sims. I like this. He said it with his chest. In regards to John Sterling, and all respect to John Sterling, he said he had his time. This is my time. I'm not coming in to do impersonations or anything like that, he said. I must have done something right. And he was talking about, calling home runs. Every home run is different. They're not all high, far, and gone. C-Max coming up next. Thanks for listening to my show. I'm out of here. Good night. Another one. We'll do another one tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Let's see. Yo, Keith, what are your thoughts on the Cowboys Twitter feud with D-Law and Micah? I had the audio queued up to play with Fleegs. I didn't play it. This isn't Dallas. We don't really need to do that. Also, did you see Altuve drop? Yeah, I mentioned that. Just like, Altuve can learn how to play left field in obscurity and I don't even know. I think obscurity and anonymity. I said, he could be anonymous out there in left field. You don't know that's Jose Altuve. With Dominguez though, it's Dominguez is terrible. Dominguez sucks. Well, what are we gonna do with Dominguez? I'm almost finished with this clip. You want me to email it to you when I'm finished? Yeah, bro. Let's see what you're working with, man. Let's see. I'll be up for a little while. I got to ride home. I'm going to stay up probably till 3. See what this eclipse is looking like. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all. See you tomorrow.